If you really like this podcast and you're like, hey, I want to give $2 million, we would love that.
Start out small.
We will give you a hot tamale award.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be
You will
gold
be the
plated.
hot tamale.
We will all quit our jobs and do this full time, and it will be great.
And then we can have a location where you can come visit.
I know, exactly. Yeah. We'll start like a bookstore, Harry Potter themed.
And for $2
Coffee
million, we'll
shop.
fly to you wherever you are and do a meet and greet.
We'll give you a lifetime supply of hot tamales.
I don't know what that is.
I looked them up. I think they're little
They're
candies. Yeah.
Those little red
Yeah.
things.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were
The
peppers. For
I
the
assumed
entire
it
time.
was hot tamale. Yeah, those
I
little
thought it was a Mexican
red candies.
food. Tamale. Isn't a tamale like
Probably.
a wrap, like a burrito?
Oh, is that like rice thing wrapped in like
I thought so.
in like
but
a banana
Yeah,
leaf?
that's what tamale is. Yeah.
So a hot
I guess a
tamale.
hot tamale is a hot version
hot
of that.
one.
Yeah, like
Spicy.
very spicy.
I think.
Something
Yeah,
I
I
like
think
anything
they're like cinnamon Mike and Ike,
Oh, I know what
Oh.
you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Okay.
like those red things.
Yeah,
Whoa.
not really a fan.
But you can become a Mike and Ike. You can become a Mike and Ike. You can become a hot tamale if you want. All right.
You're changing.
Depending on how much you give, you can either be a Mike and Ike or a hot tamale.
I really want to know what the secret riddle is. Saw the
Alright.
title to the next chapter.
Oh, I was like, what? I know I kind of like.
I just like riddles. Although the problem is,
Wait.
That is the one we're supposed to have read.
what the?
Wait, did we?
Am I a chapter
I
behind?
feel like you reread. Yeah. I
Wait,
think
which
so.
chapters did you read?
Oh shoot! Did I only read one chapter?
No
Oh
way.
my goodness!
He's like, I want to know what the secret riddle. I'm
and you're like, oh, I already know what it is. No,
I was like, you
I could have
don't-
sworn I read both
you
chapters.
don't
Yeah.
get the riddle.
It's like, wait, why do you?
Oh no! Sorry, guys.
Oh well.
This
we
might
got
be a one
yeah.
chapter podcast, or I can
You can
start
listen
reading
to
it
it.
while. Yeah, I'll just sit in the corner and I'll listen to it while you guys talk.
I mean, then I can talk more.
Yeah, exactly.
nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jen, you just keep talking and I'll start reading.
Okay.
And then the viewers get to watch
I
me
can't
read
believe No one
and
wants
to listen
circle.
to me
I just
talk
need a
that
pen.
long.
You know what I mean?
All right, let's get you one.
It was a good chapter. Though. You like that chapter? Then?
Yeah, answers.
Wow,
Loving
Katie was insane.
answers.
Mongos. It was big.
I know.
It
Yeah.
was good. We were right, ish, about the jewelry.
No spoilers. What? Okay, sorry.
Spoiler.
You asked for
Shoot,
it.
yeah, this is on me.
We're gonna be discussing this whole
What
chapter.
were we
You
right
just asked
about?
for it.
Because when she touched the necklace, that's
yeah,
something
yeah.
you read, right?
Yeah.
And we were saying, oh,
Yeah. Magical objects. We're gonna talk about that.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll have quiet from that
Here's
side.
what. Yeah. I'll just be quietly reading. You know what? I was thinking Harry just jumps to conclusions so fast, and when McGonagall told him that Malfoy wasn't in Hogsmeade, I feel like he should have completely changed his thought process. Like a proper detective would say, there's new information now. I have to almost like start from scratch and think what is the most likely scenario. But instead, he was so locked into what he already assumed and he was like refusing to change. But I was like, now it feels like that necklace was supposed to be delivered to Malfoy. And Malfoy was supposed to pick it up, but he couldn't get there.
So someone's trying to kill Malfoy?
No, not kill him, because the necklace glowed green.
Oh.
So I was thinking maybe Slytherins can touch it, but other people can't. Or if anyone but Malfoy touches it.
Wait, do we know what Katie
can't.
was? Is she pure blood or is she?
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, okay. Because then I was like, is it a pure blood thing where like pure bloods can touch it? And
Yeah,
not
that's an
get
interesting
hurt?
question.
And maybe not mixed. Because
It's
they're like the necklace is from the Slytherin's descendants.
Yeah,
And they were
it's
the pure
Borgenbergs.
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I thought. I was thinking.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So do you think that Harry is just trying to force answers into his theories that are already there? Like, do you think his theory still could possibly be correct? Could Malfoy have
I think
told
it
Crabbe
could.
and Goyle to go, deliver this? Or is that even more far-fetched?
It could be true, but who would he be trying to give this necklace to?
I mean, the Malfoy discussion at whatever that store was. That seems
Morgan and
like,
Burke's?
yeah, I feel like that seems likely. Like, hey, this is the necklace. Because Hermione went in after and was like, how much is that? And of course, he already knew that she was being suspicious. So he's going to upcharge it or whatever.
Right.
It kind of makes sense. Who else knows about the necklace?
We kind of assume.
And
Dumbledore
our
does.
last discussion was the ring and the necklace being some kind of importance.
Some kind of importance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
And
know.
Malfoy could have just sent for it, right? I feel like that was an easy way of it getting into Hogwarts, though. And she was imperious. Or
It was
something.
it was almost too easy. Like everything, you just don't. Like, what is your running theory for how?
Although I was annoyed that it went to Snape. I was like, why would it go to
Right?
Snape? I thought that was weird.
He was a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, so it made some sense. But still, you're like, why can't Dumbledore have a look at that, even though he was gone at that moment?
Unless McGonagall is not good and she's with Malfoy.
She
and
was
it's a
helping getting it
cover.
smuggled in. Yeah, because it did feel weird. Like they're trying to be so careful about what they bring in. And then they're like, ooh, something suspicious. Bring it in. Let's look at it. You know, I'm like, let's keep these funky things out of here. Because it felt like if they were all nervous that it would enter the school, well, it entered the school. So I don't know. I just feel like you got to keep some of that stuff out. But they know more about magic stuff than me. So they didn't think it was a risk. They were able to do some tests.
But I'm also
Yes.
curious, how did it get cursed? Like, she was wearing whatever with an M. What's her name? The daughter that...
Merope?
Yeah. Since she was wearing it, did she curse it when she died? How did it get cursed?
Ooh, that's cool.
Is the dad putting a spell on it? Only purebloods can touch it? Like, where did this curse come from? Because she was wearing it, and it didn't seem like any big deal.
You think it's the same necklace?
Yes,
It makes
until
sense.
now.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it makes great sense because that's like one of the first times we ever heard of a necklace mentioned.
Yep.
And then it's in the next chapter, pretty much, or the next few.
Unless we're about to hear about a whole like necklace thing. Like, oh yeah, that's a normal
Black market
thing.
of
And like,
necklace,
yeah, like there are a lot
wizarding
of necklaces around, and she's kind of introducing a new concept of like, yeah, you know,
Jewelry.
kids at Hogwarts don't know about these things, but lockets are a thing that all
Well, I guess
pureblood
also
families
because
have. Or
I
like,
wonder if the jewelry, but like the Ministry of Magic came to check the Malfoy's house,
oh yeah, searching for stuff.
searching for things. But I guess if everything looked like jewelry, is that their way of getting things? that
And
are
depending on how they
evil?
searched, I'm assuming they have like a good technique for searching where they would be able to identify things that are magic even if they didn't look suspicious. I'm trusting Mr. Weasley is good at that stuff. But if the Malfoys were trying to hide it, they
she's
might
so
be better.
interesting as an author because she just drops these little hints, and then you have to just. I mean, this is why I'm new to reading. I'm like, what is this? I just want to keep getting answers.
I know. And you'd get them in the next chapter if Danny had read it. We can, Danny, if you want to stop reading, like we can just do one chapter and we can do like some summary questions. So like it's like a halfway point rehash of everything. If you want to just try to keep reading, you can.
Well, what do you guys think we should do?
I feel like you should answer that
Because I don't know what kind of content is coming up. If it's going to be too hard to discuss only a single chapter.
you're gonna. Well, this chapter has a lot of information.
We always,
Ooh, I like information. But also, I can't sit and read for 45 minutes of silence.
People actually probably would like that. They're like, give us a live read of Danny's reaction because it is a good chapter for
I'll
sure.
read it out loud and just start exclaiming when crazy things happen.
Hey everyone, this is John, and this is editing John. So I'm currently in my office editing this podcast right now. And if you saw the live stream, you know everything that happened with the podcast. But at this moment in the podcast, when we were recording, a lot of the audio started cutting in and out and started overlaying, and it was really, really strange. And I'm attributing it all to Danny and his wizardry. I have become convinced in this podcast alone that Danny is secretively a wizard, and he is sabotaging the podcast because he forgot to read. Because this is what happened. He forgot to read chapter 13, and this podcast is on 12 and 13. He thought he read 13, but he didn't. So he got there, and as you just heard, he realized he completely forgot, and he started reading as we were discussing the chapter. All of a sudden, I had all sorts of wrong things happening with the audio that I've never had before. It started cutting in and out. It started dropping. The video was dropping. Everything went wrong. And you know when it got fixed? Danny closed his book, and there was no problem. As soon as he finished the chapter, no joke, like a half hour later, I was trying to solve the issues, and we were recording, and we would get like little snippets here and there of me actually being able to record something, and then it would cut out again every 5 minutes. And it was all hell was breaking loose. So for this, the beginning of this podcast, it's a little helter-skelter. And I just wanted to make a note of that at the beginning. But we also know that Danny is now a wizard because he was casting nonverbal spells so he could finish the chapter and he could actually discuss chapter 13 in this podcast. So this chapter really is chapter 12 and 13. Wild stuff again was happening in this podcast, but I'm going to just plug everything right here so I don't have to plug it again later. First things first, go join us on YouTube. This is probably the biggest thing that we have going on right now, but we have membership on YouTube, and you can give and you can watch live streams that we do on YouTube, which are really fun. They're just a bunch of Harry Potter nerds just talking about what we're talking about in the podcast. You can actually contribute to the podcast. If you ask questions in chat, usually I ask them to the group. So it's like a fun way to participate live in the discussion. And I know a lot of people are catching up too, so hurry up, catch up so you can join a live stream. The other stuff that we have going on too is a Patreon. If you want to support us in any way on Patreon, it's just $5 a month. We give a little bit of extra content. We're going to start giving extra content as soon as we finish the books with this crew. So go support us on Patreon. We'd love that. We're really just trying to get this to a point where we can all make money from it and just do it full time. That'd be like, the dream. That would be incredible. So go support us on Patreon. Give us a rating and a review on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go join our subreddit r/first-time-readers. Go check out our Instagram, which we are doing a lot more of. It's at first-time-readers. Go email us at firsttimereaders@gmail.com. Visit our website, firsttimereaders.com. Our Twitter handle is firstimreaders. All the fun stuff that I mention every podcast that you're probably really bored of and that you probably skip. There's some other stuff, but I'm blanking on it right now. We have merch coming out. Our designer has been a little slow in getting the merch out. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So as soon as we get that, we're going to kind of go live with some merch, all the houses, all that fun stuff. But we are plugging our way through the books. These books are really, really fun. These last two are so good. And this stuff in this podcast that Janny. Ooh, that's their new nickname, Janny, for their love connection. The new stuff that Janny are talking about in this episode and their predictions are really, really fun. I can't really say anything, obviously, because Jenn and Danny listen to this podcast. So I can't say anything, but they're just highly entertaining. And if you know stuff, you know stuff. If you don't know stuff, you don't know stuff. It's just so much fun to listen and to act like a first-time reader. So enjoy these chapters 12 to 13 of Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, it's Burke.
It's giving Danny time to read. He's so
Caractacus.
What? I don't even know who that is.
Borgin and Burke.
Yeah.
We might get to meet Caractacus Burke.
But where is this?
So this is the second page, or however you count pages, fourth page of the new chapter, where Dumbledore is saying the reason they know that Merope was left in London is because of the evidence of one Caractacus Burke, who, by odd coincidence, helped found the very shop from whence the necklace we have just been discussing.
But that's the necklace from Merope.
Yeah, but that confirms just the name and the fact that this confirms the necklace that they're discussing came from that shop.
So what I was saying could be right?
Well, I just didn't know if it was the same necklace. We assumed it was, but this confirms it. Dumbledore at least thinks the necklace was the same.
The
Also,
same that
if the stream's not working, maybe we should wait and discuss. But yeah, that necklace, yeah.
Oh, okay. So I think my theory could be right. Oh, it gets so good. Oh, the end.
I know. The
Because
end of
you get answers of why he's the way he is, and then I'm like, why does anyone
keep reading quick, Danny. Keep reading.
why does anyone follow him?
I know. This actually is going to be kind of entertaining if Danny keeps
Bellatrix?
reading during this and just gives us like
And
this
just
live
randomly
reaction.
jump out with,
Yeah,
"Oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness."
yeah. I feel like this could work.
It's a long. The only thing is it is a long chapter, but I guess you read fast.
Well, I think we have it figured out, but this could happen again. But Danny is doing nonverbal spells, so that's why.
Yeah. I'm just trying to give myself more time, you know?
All right.
Still taking like 1,000 notes.
Oh yeah, I
he's
probably should
rushing
cut my
reading.
character list out, or have you put the characters in. I don't have time for this, you know what I mean? But
I don't know how you're. I don't.
It
wanna
is
mess
entertaining.
up.
This is like a live read, so people can go
Yeah.
back and just.
This
you
is
know.
how
this
he
is my
reads.
process. Usually I am doing more. I'm just trying to confirm who might have been the headmaster of Hogwarts back when Dumbledore went to this mysterious place in London, which might be St. Mungo's back in the day.
What?
Well, all I know
It's
so
okay.
far.
I probably won't even follow. Just keep going
No,
with what
'cause
you're doing.
Dumbledore's meeting with Mrs. Cole, and I'm like, it sounds like she's got people oozing on beds and doing other stuff. I'm like, sounds like a hospital. What if this is St. Mungo's back in the day? So then I'm
It's
like,
an orphanage.
Yeah.
what? Spoiler. All right, cool. Orphanage.
You
Did they say
knew
that?
that. You knew it was
Not yet, but they will.
Would you stop mid-sentence?
Because Dumbledore's here about Tom Riddle, so I'm just trying to figure out, his age and all that, and to see. Dumbledore said he was a teacher, so I'm just curious: is he only a teacher or also headmaster yet?
We don't have time for this.
We don't have
Danny.
time for this. You're
Speed
right.
reading,
You're
come
right.
on.
All right, keep going.
At least tell me this: do you think the Half-Blood Prince is a good or a bad person?
I can't tell you.
They seem a little dark, but at the same time, they seem kind of good.
I feel like they're just really good at spells, hexes, and whatever, and potions, obviously. But I can't tell if it's good or evil because it could be like a prankster person.
And do you have any ideas or theories on who it could be?
No. It was funny about James Potter was brought up,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, that would be interesting if he was the Half-Blood Prince, because I could see him, like, if I was feeding into that prankster thing mentality, he could be that person where it's like he's really so smart that he was like bored in class, so he was like re-editing the book spells and the potions and like making up his own spells while bored in class or something like that. Or it could be his mom.
I know. It could be either of them.
Yeah.
Do you guys think the person is alive or dead? And Danny, who do you think it might be?
I think my top thought is probably Karkaroff. My second would be Voldemort. Third would be Snape. Fourth would be James Potter.
Wow, okay.
I think those are the only ones that I think
Wait,
it
wait,
actually
hold
could
on.
be.
Sorry. Go through that again. Karkaroff.
Karkaroff, if he's still alive, and if that silly theory about living death potion, then I think it would be him. But if he's dead, that would kind of seal the deal. That would that would close the coffin on that one. Then I think it could be Voldemort, but because Voldemort is just really good. And the thing that throws me off about this is that he was inventing his own spells, and this is the potions book. What about in charms and all the other stuff? Whoever this is someone who maybe doesn't play by the rules, which we love in the form of the Weasleys, but is a kind of scary thing in the form of Voldemort. So it sounds like the kind of thing Voldemort would do, and maybe that's how he rose to power, if he was experimenting and starting to experiment on other people, other wizards, or discovered during his experiments something really powerful, which could lead down a path to more things.
Right.
But I don't know. It's
Maybe
weird.
too.
And I get the feeling that whoever this is has rebelled against the establishment, because otherwise they would be publishing these updates in future potions books. They would be like making updates. And we don't know how old this book is. If it was Voldemort's, this book is, how old is that now? Like 40 years old or something,
I thought-
which seems a little unlikely, but maybe. maybe they really never update potions recipes.
There was one other name I didn't say, Merope, because
Ooh.
I thought
Interesting.
it could, because only because Hermione threw in it looks like a girl's handwriting and a Half-Blood Prince. Remember I was saying this last time, and at first I was like, maybe they didn't go to Hogwarts because it seems like they were kind of like homeschooled or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But then they were descendants of the Slytherin founder.
Salazar, yeah.
So I was like, wouldn't they go to Hogwarts then?
But it
I
sounds like
wouldn't think.
Merope didn't, but maybe she did and they just didn't mention it.
Well, that's the only thing, because then I'm like, oh, you're not in that chapter. You're not done. But because I could see the mom, I'm like, how are certain things that's mentioned in this chapter is just natural talent? I feel like it has to come from a parent, and his dad is a muggle and his mom's a witch. So to me, she would seem to have passed down the skill set.
Yeah.
And she's not a squib, obviously. So in my mind, I'm just thinking maybe it could be her.
That would be fascinating and cool and
You're not
sad.
there yet. Just keep reading.
okay. Well, just because she either that's a tough one.
I know but it's also interesting because never mind.
I think
I can't even say things.
one and one thing that again.
How do you do this?
Oh gosh. One
why I
thing
just
that
stay
JK is really good at too. Yeah, is she like throws something in there and then leaves it immediately. And you're like, why did she throw that in there with the female handwriting? And they threw the idea that it couldn't be a woman out so fast that you're like, something seems amiss here. So
Right.
Merope, there's some things line up with her, but you don't know all the details on it yet. So like maybe when more details come out, you'll see things don't line up or they do line up. But she at least made an incredible love potion.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's a very good potions person so far from the little that we know.
Gonna go super fast.
Try. All right, we have like 5 minutes before it does it again.
Spill all your
Go.
thoughts now.
Who's the Half-Blood Prince? All right, ready, go.
We did answer that.
I know we did.
So what's the next question?
Keep moving forward.
We're just gonna go. Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
Jen.
Danny.
And Kristen.
This is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers, and Danny is reading chapter 13. Speed reading it. Right?
Live read.
Unless it got messed up, so then we can repeat everything.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is all hell is breaking loose on this stream right now. Okay. Danny's gonna give us the summaries, but he's reading right now, so I'll give summaries because the stream is off the rocker. This is the summary of chapter 12. Let me get to my chapter. Silver and Opals is they take Harry's still like obsessed with the Half-Blood Prince. He's doing nonverbal spells on his friends, which is quite alarming.
I forgot about that.
While they're sleeping, they go to Hogsmeade. They hang out in Hogsmeade for a little bit. Katie Bell gets cursed with this necklace that she's delivering to someone. We don't really know who. And the chapter kind of ends with the unsurety of it all. And Harry is about to go to his next lesson with Dumbledore.
Perfect.
Nailed it, guys. Wow, that was
Nailed
actually a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
I put you
yikes.
guys through. Oh my
I
gosh.
know why. I always say,
Why am I so nervous? Why am I sweating right now? All right, okay, the chapter opens up. Where was Dumbledore and what was he doing?
He was
first
away.
That's the first line.
We
So
don't
that's the
know.
question I have for you guys. Where was Dumbledore and what was he doing?
I still don't freaking know. He's always away and he's always doing something for the Order, maybe. And maybe with Hagrid. Maybe they're trying to get more people on their side. Maybe he's trying to brushing up on spells or learn more ancient magic.
How?
And learn more ancient magic. There it is.
Yeah, it didn't take long. There should be like a countdown, a little
Okay.
timer.
You're supposed to be
Over, under.
reading.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
people should start taking bets. How long does it take?
Yeah. There's a point too. You mentioned ancient magic a lot, but has the book ever used the terminology ancient magic?
Yes, it has.
When?
Voldemort was explaining how ancient magic, he wasn't he didn't realize
yeah.
the power of
Okay.
it.
That's right. What was the last question?
You asked.
Where was Dumbledore and what was he doing? But
Oh,
we already
yeah,
got
yeah,
that. That was
yeah.
ancient
That
magic
was
stuff, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But now we'll just go on to the next question. Maybe we'll have better luck with the next question. Is the Half-Blood Prince a dark person? We asked that before, but is the Half-Blood Prince sick in the head? Or are they just like a good wizard that's experimenting with things?
Ugh. We haven't seen anything that dark, though, from the book that Harry's. I don't think. Have we? Like the ones he's been trying, like hanging upside down.
Yeah,
that's
for
not
sure.
that bad. Or
But how outrageous is it that he tried that curse on a sleeping Ron? When
I don't think he actually thought he could do it. So I think he was just like, oh, I'm gonna try it,
Yeah,
but
for
like it's
sure.
not gonna work.
Probably why it worked. Because he didn't think it would work.
Maybe
He
you're
just
right.
went for it.
Thinking.
Wasn't overthinking it.
Yeah.
Because that... Danny finished?
I'm done.
All right.
Wow. Nicely
Thank
done.
goodness. Wasn't it a good
Now the
chapter?
audio is
Stop
going to be fine.
jinxing. Yeah, stop jinxing
That
the
was
audio
the
now.
problem. I accidentally put some spells on the live stream. But now,
Wasn't
yeah,
it good?
It's a good chapter.
very good.
A lot of information.
A lot of information,
Love it.
a lot of questions,
Well, yeah, there's
a lot of
always
intrigue, and I'm
more.
curious even how it ended. I'm like, I think I missed something, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Maybe
So-
we'll get there.
Even maybe we'll see. Even with this whole nonverbal spell, there's this whole thing in there where the curse's name is Levi Corpus. So like if you put that together, you're like levitate, but corpus, like a corpse.
A
If
body.
I'm Harry, I'm thinking,
Harry's not thinking ever.
I know.
So he's not.
Why would you ever use this on your friend, even if you think you can't do it? That is absurd to me.
I'm curious what the difference is between Wingardium Leviosa and this Levi Corpus, and what this feels darker.
Yeah.
It grabbed him by his ankle. It was a vulnerable thing. It was like, it just felt different.
This is why we need him talking and not reading.
And so
Because my
it just
answer
feels
was
a little
3 words.
a little darker. And Harry pointed out that James used this thing potentially.
So wait, your top 3 people that you think the Half-Blood
Half-Blood
Prince could be are dark wizards, or
Yeah,
Ish.
you're right. Well, we don't know about James, but in this time, he was darker.
yeah,
I'm assuming he was also a 5th year, and he was still bullying people in his 5th year. So if it was Karkaroff, Voldemort, Snape, or even James, I think all 4 of those people were a little dark at the time
Yeah.
when they were writing this. But I could be wrong. It could be Lily, and it could be something else like entirely. But it gives me a little bit dark vibes. I'm not trusting the Half-Blood Prince quite yet. I think Harry should be more careful with these spells. And now that we learned a little more about
said
Voldemort,
that too. Why are you using the spell? It's because she's always right.
yeah, she is always right.
yeah,
Because I mean, this is even the line that you
You
get.
love that.
This is even the line that you get from Harry reading this book. He goes, Harry rather doubted he would be able to bring off this particular spell. He was still having difficulty with nonverbal spells. Again, like, why would you do this spell? Something Snape had been quick to comment on in every Defense Against the Dark Arts class. On the other hand, the prince had proved a much more effective teacher than Snape so far. So, like, Harry's learning a ton from this, but do you, even with this whole idea, do you think that Harry is just blinded by his hatred of Snape? Do you think that Snape is actually a good teacher?
he's one of the better teachers, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say that too.
I feel like if you're on his good side, you're learning a ton in that class. But he's like one of those who has favorites and non-favorites.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you can't really have that as a teacher. So,
But even his spiel about Defense Against the Dark Arts in the beginning,
yeah.
they were like, Harry, it sounded like you.
Yeah. And Harry was seeing it from like a dark perspective of like being evil. And I was reading it a little bit that way. But I mean, it's a subject in school. You know what I mean? It's like Defense Against the Dark Arts. This is a class. You want teachers that are passionate about their classes. Harry is saying he's passionate about the dark arts, not the defense against them. But either way, again, I'm not viewing Durmstrang as being that bad. I'm not viewing dark arts as being that bad. I just don't think it's all black and white.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was not as offended by that, but it reminded me of Lupin, like a nice calm intro to the class, talking about big picture stuff, why this is important. Like that's like a good thing to do for a teacher. I feel like bad teachers would just be like, read the book or get it done, or like they would just be a little more impersonal about it. So a little bit of a speech I felt like was kind of a nice intro to class.
Right. Yeah.
Even if we don't trust him, it was still like, he's trying to teach people. I think.
Even when he was in potions, I feel like he was a good teacher in potions. But Harry just hates him so much that I don't think he's even able to learn from him. So I feel like Harry could have learned nonverbal spells really quickly with like Lupin. But do you think he's going to learn them quick with Snape?
No, because he also is like a angst against him with the law.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Vendetta.
yeah, like when you're mentally like that, it's like everything they say you don't want to like listen to or like cooperate with.
Yeah. What's that word? He just doesn't like him at all. So like whatever he says, he's not gonna go along with.
Yeah, because in life, right, like someone that you don't like and you don't want to admit they're right,
Yep.
so you're like go against whatever they're saying.
Who do you guys view as the best teacher at Hogwarts?
Now or overall?
Like overall, over Harry's entire career at Hogwarts.
I loved Lupin. I thought he was really good because I feel like they learned a lot
Yeah.
quickly, and the Patronus stuff too, and the bug arts. Right? Was that a bug
Yeah.
art?
I didn't feel like he was biased.
Yeah.
At least I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Right.
Any of
Well,
the
we
students.
only
like,
saw
I feel like I would be
Harry's
most comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he's a werewolf.
The irony.
McGonagall seems pretty decent too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I always forget about her.
I know, 'cause she's not coming up that often, I feel like.
And we haven't been in many of her classes.
I feel
We've
like
been in
she's
a
just very
few, but-
strict. Like
Yeah.
Lupin, I feel like was more approachable.
Yeah.
That's why I
Agreed.
liked him, I think.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think Harry was a good teacher.
So
Honestly.
true.
Yeah.
Dumbledore's Army, he was great. Grubbly Plank, I think, did a very good job in contrast to Hagrid. Sorry, we love Hagrid. But
Yeah.
even Ferenz, I think, felt like he had a certain presence.
You think really? You think Ferenz is a good teacher?
You know, I think
He was just going
for
Mars
his
burns
class-
bright tonight. That's all that he was saying.
Wait, is that what he did for the whole class?
And no, in the first book, he was talking about how Mars burns bright. But I think
Oh,
he's
yeah,
so
yeah.
ethereal that I feel like
Maybe
he's not a
nobody
good
got
teacher.
anything from it.
I feel like
Or
no
maybe-
one could be a
Danny
good
would've.
teacher for that subject.
Maybe I just would have enjoyed it because
Danny would've.
am I making this up or did they turn the classroom into like a field with
Yeah.
grass and like plants? Maybe I was just like, oh, that'd be such a great environment.
We're all
to be in.
revealing how we learn things right now.
Yeah.
But his class just stinks because obviously it's dumb.
You're
Him
just
and
saying that
Trelawney.
because we made fun of you for liking
No,
it.
but because I wouldn't even like that class. Even if I passed the OWL, I wouldn't go on
I
to
don't know.
meets
You're
for
talking
that.
about like stars and stuff. You love that crap.
I do like the stars. You're right. That would get me going.
Yeah.
But wait, isn't
the
astronomy a different
planets.
class?
Yeah, astronomy is a different class.
So I would do astronomy and then maybe divination to see how astronomy influences divination.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm trying to think of the good teachers
Those
because
seem like impractical.
I mean, you have Sprout,
wizard
Flitwick, yeah.
classes.
oh yeah. Is Sprout a good teacher?
Why?
I think probably good-ish.
yeah, I
right?
feel like she's an adequate teacher. You don't hear too much about like people raving about how good Sprout's lessons were.
Yeah, you're right.
And Harry,
Unless you
Harry
read
knows
Neville's
Transfiguration.
perspective.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know Neville is good at it, but I feel like if you take his subject and you just go with it, then you're going to be good at it no matter what. Like Neville just loves that, so he's going to be good at it even if you had a bad teacher.
And Bins, no good.
No good.
Is
Yeah.
that
Bins is
history?
buns.
Bins his puns.
Yeah, he just buns. And not like butts, but just like bad. Anyways, too many
It always
B's.
comes back in.
So
No idea. Like that.
you
went
know
through
who
the
else
wall
is a
over my
pretty
head.
good teacher? Crouch Jr.
Yeah, for real.
Like legit, he was
Yep.
a good teacher. He taught a lot of stuff,
you
and
almost
I was
wonder
like,
why
what
he
the-
was a good teacher.
Yeah, I still wonder why did he do such a good job? Did he need to keep the moody impression up while he was there?
I guess
But, like,
there's a point of that, but still.
it just
Yeah, but
felt
also, doesn't he
strange.
become more like the person? the more you take it. So maybe Moody
yeah.
would have been a good teacher, the real one.
I don't
And-
know if that's an actual apologies thing, but I think that's kind of like become
or he
headcanon
was
for me
also
now.
studying the way he was.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
He was
No,
just
that's a
naturally
fair
good
point.
at that, and it just came out.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm
Seriously,
I'm a little suspicious. Like, did they learn anything in that year that like will come back to haunt them later?
What did they learn? I don't even remember.
Unforgivable curses.
And so that's like a kind of big deal. And then remember he did that Imperious thing with Harry and with others. So then I'm like, is he good at occlumency or legilimency? Was he like picking people's brains during class?
He was telling him to like fight it off. That is weird, actually.
Like, why train Harry in that?
But somehow we figured it out.
Somehow we figured it out. Yeah, so
That was a high five for you listening.
yeah, I guess so. So I don't know.
So Harry's not getting good at potions because he has this book. But do you?
Is getting good at potions. Is not because he's just memorizing it.
But
I'm
isn't that
It's
what
still a little of
potions
both, right?
are? Yeah.
Because I was like, I feel like he is learning it because it's different and he's getting excited about it. So when
Yeah,
you're
it's
excited
true.
about something, I feel like it sticks.
But it's like saying somebody's not good at baking because they only follow recipes. But like you
Yeah.
follow recipes and make delicious pastries, and then that is what makes you good. So I'm starting to blame the books, not Harry. Where I'm like,
Well, if Hermione can't get it right, then
Yeah.
I think it's something wrong with the books.
but why? Why use these old books? They used them years and years ago. Is this like a weird Slughorn last minute thing? Like, what books do we use? Yeah, let's just use the books I did last time. They're like, we've upgraded this book like 10 times since then. I don't care. I love this old book. Like, I don't know. It just feels weird. Yeah, that was the conversation between
Oh my
Slughorn and
gosh.
some other random person at school. Probably
Okay.
not Dumbledore because he doesn't get caught up in the administrative stuff like that.
How do you talk?
Harry.
Never mind.
Okay, so Harry does too. He suggests that it could be his dad. And you guys
Yeah.
were even talking about Merope. So there's one thing that I want to point out too, because you said, do you think the Half-Blood Prince had gone to Hogwarts? Or is that like something that she's leading us astray on because
But
the book was
shouldn't.
found in Hogwarts?
Oh,
It would be a clever mislead. But I
Because-
do think that, yeah.
they did go.
That they did.
Do you
I'm
know-
reading
I
it that
thought
way.
so too.
Do you know where your number one suspect went to school?
No, we don't know where Karkaroff went
Yeah.
to school.
He's the headmaster of Durmstrang, so you kind of think he went to Durmstrang, but you don't know for sure that he went
And
to Durmstrang.
because
Yeah, but
of
he
this,
knows Snape. Oh, but he's a Death Eater. So.
Yeah.
this makes me think he went to Hogwarts. According to this theory, like when I say he's my number one suspect, I'm assuming he went to Hogwarts and that's where he got to know Snape, not when they were both Death Eaters.
Interesting.
But then also he just felt so familiar to Dumbledore, and I don't know. Again, I'm just assuming if it's way up north, like wouldn't they speak another language? But it seems like he's pretty comfortable. No, he does have an accent though, doesn't he? I don't remember.
You're asking the wrong.
He has it in the movies. I think he did it in the books. I think it mentioned it in the books a
like
little
a
bit.
little bit, but not as extreme as
Yeah.
Hagrid's accent
Yeah, for
or
sure.
Madame
But you would've
Maxime.
picked
They
up
both
an
have like
accent when-
real heavy accents. So I'm just assuming, all right, yeah, they
A
grew
year
up
in
in
Australia,
France and
you
whatever.
didn't have an accent after.
I did an American one, and then I got back and I just kept the Aussie accent on.
That's actually pretty good.
So
I like that. You can talk like that all the time.
So I
And he's just gonna full on take an Australian
yeah
personality.
try and do the whole thing like that. Jen, could Karkaroff have gone to Hogwarts?
Oh, now I'm allowed to talk. Sure. I don't know. I don't know the history of Kakarov like you do.
And you know what else? I was thinking about Dumbledore. He pretty much had to go to Hogwarts, right? The only reason I say that is because we don't know the extent of what the Ministry is in charge of, where their realm is, but we know it's at least Great Britain. Probably also would encompass Durmstrang and Beauxbatons. We can kind of assume that, but we just don't know how much farther it would go. But we know that the English-speaking wizard OWL lady did do Dumbledore's OWL. So he went to Hogwarts or Durmstrang or...
Wait, what was her name?
Oh, we know her name? Oh, man, I don't know if I can remember her name.
The lady who was administering the OWL.
It was a good name, wasn't it? Because I don't know if
because this is going to come up in a trivia question. This is my only mindset. We're going to go to a
So
trivia.
every
yeah, we
time
gotta be
you're
right on
getting
whenever we
names,
can.
you're
Yeah,
Who
doing
because-
administered Harry's OWLs?
in my head, we didn't get her name. It was just like 3 old wizards. But now that you mention it, we might have. And you know what? I think Dumbledore, according to your theory, Jen, you pointed out the Gryffindor knocker on his door. I'm thinking he went to Hogwarts, he was Gryffindor, and that's already been confirmed for us somewhere else in the book. And then...
That's not just...
Did we find her name?
Madam Marchbanks. Thank you, Ashley
Oh,
April.
wow. Yes, I do remember Marchbanks.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. I remember.
I'm going to check if it's on my list.
Yeah,
I think that was before
go
I started
check
making
in
my character
silence,
list.
So here's another
John
point
can
too.
ask another question.
We'll kind of back onto this chapter. So right before Harry,
Hurry, he's reading.
I know.
Quick while I'm distracted.
Right before they go and like find the necklace and they find Katie Bell, they find Mundungus Fletcher.
Yeah.
And this is the line that you get, which is rather shocking. Hold on one second. I hope the stream's still up because I just gotta.
Be careful.
I think we're good. Oh, it's so scary.
Oh, yep, I got it. Griselda Marchbanks
Griselda,
came to do
that's
the
right.
OWLs with Harry's class and said that she gave Dumbledore his...
So you're going to bring this when we go to trivia nights, right?
Okay, yeah. Griselda. All right, cool. Now
he's
we're back
gonna
on
study
track.
it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the line that you get with Mundungus.
Everyone's going to want your spreadsheet, by the way.
I know, seriously, we got to post that after.
Oh, yeah,
But
nice.
here's the line. Harry had pinned Mundungus against the wall of the pub by the throat. Holding him fast with one hand, he pulled out his wand. Harry, squealed Hermione. You took that from Sirius's house, said Harry, who was almost nose to nose with Mundungus and was breathing in an unpleasant smell of old tobacco and spirits. That had the Black family crest on it. So, one of my questions is, what was Mundungus stealing from the Black House? Is it an important thing for whatever he was doing here? Because he just sold something to some old guy that walked away.
I feel like it's just like decorations or like props or... Because if it had the black...
Crest.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like it would be like a... Well, I guess it could be a family heirloom, but...
Big time. It could be a lot of things.
Jewelry,
is
a
it that
ring,
vial of blood?
a necklace.
Literally, that's what I'm thinking, because we thought the only way
my
things would escape House of Black was through Creature taking things that were thrown out. But now, this just opens up not just a theoretical long-distance can of theory worms. This is like, we now know that, at least as far as the story is concerned, it would make a lot of sense for something important from House of Black to now be in the wrong hands. So I think this is our hint to say nothing in that house is safe. So if that's going to be the other end of the mirror, you know, if Harry's got the broken one and if there was another one, again, that theory was developed on pretty much nothing. But just the idea of Sirius gave Harry the mirror and said, you can like talk to me with this, and it never came back up.
So you think Mundungus just sold the mirror?
Potentially. Or we don't even know if it was sold, and we don't even know if it went from Mundungus to the other guy. Could have gone from the guy to Mundungus, and this is just a separate branch of like, I don't know, conspiracy. But either way, it could be. Could be the mirror, could be the vial of blood, could be the that book that Harry smashed one of those spidery things with, the genealogies.
Because this was
It could be a lot of stuff.
This was all the stuff that they found in the house. They found an unpleasant-looking silver instrument, something like a many-legged pair of tweezers, which scuttled up Harry's arm like a spider when he picked it up. And it attempted to puncture his skin. Sirius seized it and smashed it with a heavy book entitled Nature's Nobility, a wizarding genealogy. There was a musical box that had emitted a faintly sinister tinkling tune when
Ginny
wound, and they all
sound
found themselves becoming curiously weak and sleepy until Ginny had the sense to shut the lid. They found a heavy locket that no one could open. They found a number of ancient seals in a dusty box, an order of
Maybe
Merlin
that's
first class that had been awarded to Sirius's grandfather for service to ministry. Those are the objects and the little knickknacks they found. So, is he selling all that stuff? Like, is that stuff dark magic? Is that stuff ancient magic?
Ooh, Jen.
Infiltrated.
I would say yes. But I think I still view Mundungus as being relatively harmless, which seems to be how Dumbledore views him too. So I don't know if Mundungus would go in planning on grabbing one of those high value things, but like a couple of cups, a couple of plates, that doesn't offend me. But I feel like if he established a little bit of a black market relationship with someone and they're like, hey, you know what? Any chance there's a little, like, I love old books, you know? Any chance there are some cool old books in there you might be able to bring by? Then maybe like he was just hinting at it to like, I don't know. I feel like Mundungus may have accidentally sold something more important than he even realized. Again, just kind of assuming Mundungus as a member of the Order of the Phoenix is a good guy deep down. I think somebody may have played on his weakness, his sticky fingers, and used that to get a hold of something.
Sticky fingers.
But what would the blood
He's
be
the
for?
sticky bandit.
Yeah, the sticky bandit.
Guys from Home Alone.
Exactly. So Mundungus actually kind of reminds me of a little bit.
So true.
Like a little bit of both of them.
Maybe she pulled it from him.
When you read the part about Mundungus, were you really mad at him?
No.
Were you guys shocked at Harry though? Because he's like strangling this guy in the
Yeah.
middle of a street.
Like pinned him to the wall,
Yeah.
like
and he like knows
aggressive.
him too.
Yeah, that caught me
That's
off guard.
what
I was
was
like, whoa.
surprised.
He's in his anger phase.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
back in it, I guess.
I thought like, whoa, Harry maybe just never trusted this guy, or maybe there's just a lot of other stuff in Harry's mind right now, and this
Yeah.
was an outlet for him. But I was a little surprised. Had his wand out, and then like, I don't know.
Yeah, even when we mentioned like his anger phase, it's interesting because he goes in that in small little moments in this book, but they're like outbursts. Where like in the last book, I feel like they were much more constant. In this one, they're becoming less so, but he still has them. So he's like still learning to manage it. It's not just like everything is just shut off. So I feel like it's good growth. I feel like it's healthy growth. It's not just all at once that he like tried to fix his problems. It's like things are cropping up and he's like strangling people in the middle of the streets, but it's only like once every few months.
Yeah. Which
That
is
makes
not
sense.
so bad, and it was like for somewhat good reason.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the same thing with Malfoy. He like came up with a theory. He wants to be mad at Malfoy, and he's going to be mad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No matter what,
Yeah.
like else is opposing it. When I read this, I wrote at the top that was Dung trying to sell the case, or did he just buy it? Because I tried to think about the reverse. What if other people had stolen things, or Creature did, and he's out collecting the
interesting, yeah.
stuff to bring it back? Again, I'm trying to view situations from multiple angles. And what if Mundungus really is a good guy, not a bad guy? Harry didn't give him a chance to even explain himself, just went straight for the throat. So I don't know. It felt a little intense, and maybe Harry is completely right, and we'll be mad at Dung later.
Yeah.
But like, there could be another explanation. We don't know anything.
I know for sure.
This could have been a gift from Sirius to Mundungus years ago,
Yep.
and Mundungus is crying every night because he misses Sirius, and he's just got to get this out of the house because it reminds him too much of Sirius. We don't know anything. So for
guy
Harry
needs a
to
hug.
go for the throat feels like chill. Just like I get it. We want to be mad, but just like let's gather information before we act.
Could Mundungus have been the one that sold that, or that gave the locket to Katie? Because we're talking about these objects, and all of a sudden this other object pops up.
He's
And
a
this-
man who gets objects.
Yeah, I know. He's the sticky bandit. Because
But
this
he
is
wouldn't have done an Imperious curse.
Wait, do we know it was Imperious?
Yeah, they said it. That
It was
she
like
was saying
at least assumed.
erratic
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
It felt like she was
Katie
not
was.
in control.
And then what's her friend? I was like, oh, I should have noticed
Leanne.
the signs. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
I wouldn't think he would do it.
I wouldn't either. But again, like
Unless he was Imperious to then give it to her and
layers
she
of
was
Imperious.
I don't know.
Can you do spells while you're Imperious? Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
we
yeah.
saw
Yep.
Crumb do it, and okay, cool. Wow, she could be Imperious.
So do you
But
think
that just
think
stinks.
someone could be Imperious to give an Imperious curse on someone else?
Why not? Yeah, I guess it would be pretty intense. And I feel like I'm making it up, but the more layers there are to the Imperious, the more likely that far down the chain it would not go smoothly. It might not be a clean Imperious. They might not do exactly what you want them to do. Maybe you'd have less control over it, but I think the better the wizard, the more they could influence people down
Yeah.
the line. I bet Mundungus is boys with Borgin and Burke.
Yeah.
I get
sure.
the feeling he's been there a bunch of times. He's
like-
sold them so much stuff.
Here's the analogy that I have for that. He's like the Todd Packer of The Office.
Oh yeah, you're so right.
Like he's their traveling salesman who like goes from place to place. He's like a scumbag, but
Yep.
I feel like he can come back in and kind of fit in at Borgin and Burke's.
Hmm.
Don't even
He
know.
could be their salesperson.
So it would make a lot of sense if Borgin or Burks, if they were like, "Hey, Dung, I need a delivery. You know, I'll give you a good price on this thing you just brought in. Just you got to bring this out to Hogsmeade and Imperius, a student, and get them." No, I don't know if he would do that much, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was on a mission for them.
Because again, this whole thing that happens is like shockingly scary. At once, Katie rose into the air, not as Ron had done, suspended comically by the ankle, but gracefully, her arms outstretched, as though she were about to fly. Yet there was something wrong, something eerie. Her hair was whipped around her face by fierce wind, but her eyes were closed and her face was quite empty of expression. It's like a terrifying thing, like seeing that happen. I mean, one of my questions,
Like
but I
Beast
feel like this is easy.
in Beauty
What
and
kind
the
of
Beast.
magic is this? What?
So it reminds me of Beast. Remember when he gets picked
Yeah,
up and
right?
he's
Yeah.
spinning
Mhm.
and he
Oh, yeah.
turns back into a human?
Yeah.
In Beauty and the Beast.
But this is-
Ancient dark magic.
Ancient dark. Ooh, double whammy. Maybe.
Like we haven't really seen anything like this.
Yeah,
We've seen
a
maybe when
human being
Voldemort was
levitated?
brought back in the potion, but nothing like this. This is like deeper, darker kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's just so interesting because what, like I guess I'm always like, why? Like, why is that a thing where you touch this necklace and you end up being tortured?
Yeah.
What was it protecting?
Yeah, why would someone curse an object like this? Like, is it for someone's enemies? Like, they just send it to someone and they can kill anybody they want? Like, maybe it just kills greedy people who want necklaces. I don't know.
I actually thought of it as being less evil and more of a protective thing. Like, again, thinking of the necklace as being a Slytherin thing. Like, it would do no harm to a Slytherin. It was more of, this can't be stolen. This is a protective charm of like, if you touch this and it doesn't belong to you,
You die.
then that's very intense. But yeah, that's a Slytherin kind of thing, right? Like
I don't know.
a lot of evil people have had this necklace over the years. We assume. I'm being a little harch towards the Slytherins, but
Yeah,
at
now
least,
you're gonna get the heat.
at least a few of the owners, like what's his name? Gaunt?
Yeah.
Mr. Gaunt. Do we know his first name?
Wait, Mr. Gaunt?
Yeah.
You're talking Borgin and Burke?
No.
The dad of Morpheus.
Yeah,
Morpheus. Yeah.
Whatever. I don't even care.
Marvolo?
No. Merope's dad.
Marvolo.
Oh, that was Marvolo Gaunt. Yeah.
But Gaunt, no. Isn't Gaunt the guy that went to check it out?
No,
The
that
Ministry
was
of Magic guy?
Ogden.
Why am I even? Yeah, just go. I don't know why I'm questioning your
but
names.
that's all the names get confusing
Okay.
for all of us. But
And
basically, I was
so-
just saying it came from him. I assuming it's a Slytherin thing, to his daughter Merope, and then who knows what happened between Merope and now. But like, if a dude like Gaunt and Merope, and like, I'm just thinking from Salazar to them, and it seems like a bit of a Slytherin heirloom. He said that, right? He, at least the ring, I assume the locket too.
No, he made.
That's got some bad
that.
juju on it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even if it wasn't on purpose, if it's only being worn by people full of hatred and racism, wouldn't that kind of like seep into a locket? Especially if it was a magical locket.
I'm more of like a pure. I don't know. It's something with the pure blood. How the dad couldn't stand like Muggle-born, mixed breed, anything.
And we don't know about Katie. That's why you asked before.
Yeah.
But you're saying anyone who isn't pure blood touching it could be.
Or maybe it's just like their family line. It literally has to be like their family line. You
Right.
can't take it. But I didn't think Slytherin, they weren't evil. It was just that
Right.
this family was
right.
off.
The
Because the
Gaunts?
dad and the son were crazy.
Yeah.
And
They
then-
are direct descendants from Salazar Slytherin, so there's that. They don't have a lot going for them on that. But
But I
this-
thought he wasn't evil then. The founder, he was, because then that
No.
proves my theory right. Who would got in my case.
It's interesting that you actually mentioned that too, because I feel like before this book, you kind of view Slytherins as being evil, and then
So
Aw.
cute. He wants like the fresh
Just gonna
air.
say.
Hurry up.
Wes is just
He's
looking
longing
cute,
to go
looking out
outside.
the
I
window,
know.
feeling the breeze.
His
But-
like chin is resting on the window,
I feel
still
like I've
getting
never
the
done that.
fresh.
That's like his little purse. He
air.
just looks out, but he's never like rested his head up against it.
Hmm.
It's cute. But before this book, that I think that you kind of get the idea that Slytherins are always bad, but Slughorn changes that up a little bit.
Yeah, you're right.
Like you don't think they're just evil; they're just ambitious, and they're just which
I
ambition
mean,
could be
I'm
a good or bad
still
thing.
a little.
Yeah, I know.
Just depends on your driving force.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You're right.
What's the worst amount of pain that you guys have ever been in?
Physically or mentally?
Physical pain.
I think I told my dune buggy story one time, right?
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Though.
I'm trying to think of another time of pain.
I don't know why I thought of this. Maybe it was when I was writing this question. I remember inflicting pain on you accidentally.
Whoa, cool.
When we were at recess and we were all climbing on the on
Cool.
goals or something like that, on like soccer goals.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
I climbed on one and I was putting my feet up on them, and they called recess to be done, and like I flung my feet off of it, and you were right underneath me, and my heel hit your shoulder blade like right here.
Oh,
and I remember
ooh.
for the like you were like down for a few minutes. You were
I
like
literally don't even remember
completely
this.
down, and you got up and you were like, you can like barely move your shoulder. I feel like I popped your shoulder out or
my
something like that.
goodness.
And the rest of the day, your shoulder was like, you could barely move it.
You
I
remember?
just remember.
No, I
know.
literally don't.
You
I
blacked
I
it
remember
out.
feeling so bad. I was
Oh
like,
He remembers
wow,
'cause he's
John!
scarred
Don't
from
you
it.
worry. You can sleep at night. I don't hold it against you. Wow, yeah, I better dip into the archives. I've probably been in
You're
pain in my younger
pensy,
years.
though.
Yeah, swirl some memories and find them. But yeah, inflicting other pain on other people certainly leaves more of a mark than the pain on myself.
yeah. I remember it wasn't the worst amount of pain, but it's the most, maybe not the most recent, because I was like 10, 15 years ago. But when I played college soccer, I kind of broke my ankle. I like didn't shatter it, but it was bad. There was like the ball came out to, if anybody knows soccer, to the 18, and I took a touch, but it was a little too far. And I was like, I could have scored if it was a good touch. And I was so mad that it was a bad touch. And it was like a 50-50 ball, which means it was right in between me and another player, the defender. And I was like, I'm just going to hit this with everything that I have in me. And I ran up to hit it, and the defender just got there half second early and just put his foot right under the ball, like right behind it. And I shot it, and my ankle just went to the other side of the ball. And I was like, I was just hopped up on adrenaline there. And I played for another 5 minutes until like I actually collapsed on the field because my ankle hurt so bad. And so like I got up, and
Oh my goodness.
the trainer looks at me and she's like, you were an idiot for playing that like longer than like
5
as soon as you
minutes.
did it.
Oh,
you should've
she
come
knew
off.
when it
she like
happened?
knew. She's like,
Yep.
I heard it. I heard like ligaments pop in your leg. And she was like, yeah, sorry. So I remember that night was agony because it was like I had just ice, but I was trying to sleep, and it was like it was throbbing, but it wasn't like the worst. It wasn't like incredible pain, but it was bad.
But it's just like stuck with you.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I think
one
that
stuck with
kind of
me.
pain also is annoying. The stuff that just doesn't go away. It's not a momentary thing like getting hit
Yeah.
in the face. But
I've had so much.
it's just the ongoing things. Yeah. What do you got, Jen? Pain? Worst
I'm
pain?
always in pain.
Much of those.
Once you're over 30, it's like, what
Yeah.
doesn't hurt? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't hurt.
All right, just wait.
Oh, no, knock on wood. What's going on? Later today, I'm going to get hurt.
But when you play sports growing up, I feel like you're more prone to getting like competitive sports, or I guess anything. I'm just klutz, so I've had where dislocated my shoulder, got hit in the face with a pitch, got rode over by a bike with like someone rode over my head with their bike with
Your
a
head?
Yes, my head.
How?
And I had a helmet on, but it slipped off. And then her chain guard, she didn't have a chain guard, so like it was, like they're sharp. The spoke. I don't
Yeah.
even
Oh,
know where
yeah.
the chain
Oh
goes
my
on.
Like-
Gosh.
How?
Oof. The
We
sprocket.
were racing and I was
Oh.
winning, of course. And I rode over a rock and it like turned my bike and I fell. And she was right behind me because I was winning, obviously. And she had no time to turn. So she went right
Jen
over
line
my
right
head.
there. Talking about our pain experiences, and you just throw in a quick note. I was winning, obviously.
Oh, except when I play him, I don't win anything. It's so annoying. Yeah. Getting hit in the face with a pitch, that one really hurt. That's like you don't even know
Yeah.
where it came from. All of a
Yep.
sudden I'm on the ground and I'm like,
Yeah.
what just happened? And it was my right eye. Like I could have broken the bone here. But the helmet took most of it. But we didn't even have cages back then. We just had like an open face. So it hit the ear part, thankfully, mostly, and a little bit of my eye. Oh, that was bad.
I did that when I was in high school. I played baseball for a half a year, and I was terrible at it, but I could throw fast. So they recruited me on the team, and they're like, you can maybe pitch some games or something like that. They put me in for a scrimmage, and I was throwing, and I was like lobbing it. I was throwing like 40, 50 miles per hour, like nothing. And my coach just kept on the bench. He's like, throw it faster, throw it faster. So I'm like throwing a little faster. Not really. I'm still just trying to go for accuracy, like right down. And I just keep throwing it faster. Then he stops the game. He calls a timeout. He comes out to the mound, and he's like, John, I put you in for one reason, that you can throw fast. I just want you to throw the next few with everything that you have in you. So I'm like, all right, fine. So I get to the mound. I wind up, and I crank this one. I'm not joking. Like I'm not a professional pitcher, but I had to have hit like mid 80s with this pitch. I flung it as fast as I could, and I just went right into his cheek, right below the helmet where that little thing comes up, right in his cheek. And he was down for like a half hour. He was down for on the ground. They were checking for he was
Yeah.
Oh
he
my
was moaning in pain.
goodness.
I remember inflicting pain on people more than pain I get. So there's another awful story, but
I did the same. In college, I was playing, I think it was shortstop or third base because I was able to throw then. And this girl, it was co-ed, it was like a wreck, nothing. But I don't know how to change the way I play. So the girl is running to first base and I chucked it. And it hit her square on the back as she's running to first base, and she does this.
That must have took the breath away from her.
I felt so.
Oh no!
I was
That's
like,
so
I am
funny.
so sorry. But in a way, everyone's like, oh, she's a girl, so how bad could it be as a throw? But
right.
fling it though. You were an
Ooh.
athlete.
back then, anyways, yeah.
Ouch.
So I've done it to people too. But.
Before Kristen passes out from all these stories. Okay, why would someone want to curse an object? And what else do you think are curses on objects? Like, is there only dark things? Like, this is the ability to put pain on someone. Like, is there any other thing that you can put on an object that's like a curse on it or something like that? Or like some kind of spell?
I feel like you could kind of do a little of anything.
Yeah.
Protective. I'd rather.
Yeah,
have a
I was thinking right because we know they can do that. The Weasleys did that with the
Yeah.
hats and the stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
So, yeah, if a hat or gloves or cloak, if they can all be charmed or made to be defensive, then you can kind of do a wide range. And no matter what we think the limits are, there could be wizards out there experimenting even beyond what we really know they can do. Like, what if you could put any kind of potion into a vial and then you wear your liquid luck on your neck and just kind of gives you a little essence of luck as you walk around. I don't know.
A little essence.
So yeah, maybe there are little things you could charm to be anything along the way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What other kind of good charms would it be nice to have?
You're just selling all of them.
No, I only listen to two. I'm just thinking of other magical things we've seen, like a sneakoscope. You wear it and it tells you what's going on. People being sneaky, remember all, tells you
Time
whatever.
traveler.
But that's like still a practical thing. I'm wondering more of like a general vibe. Like what if it was like the same kind of thing as a remember all, but it helped you remember, so you'd be less likely to forget.
Yeah. I feel like there's tons of things you can do with like taking a test, ways you can cheat.
I know, like cheating,
Yeah. There's got to be a ton.
Yeah.
protection, cheating, something to make you faster.
Yeah,
Ooh,
seriously.
Something.
faster. Cool.
That's an interesting one.
better eyesight.
Yeah, right?
Like just like little
A
things
medical
like that.
one,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
a revival one.
What do you think the darkest thing that someone could do to an object is? Is this what it is? Inflicting so much pain on someone that they would die?
It seems like a.
I don't know if there's anything
There's
worse
always
than that.
something darker. I don't know what.
What would be darker than that?
Yeah.
Well, like what if people become in fury when they get a necklace put on them? You know,
Dang.
then
That's
they're-
worse.
Well, yeah, because then you're not really dying, but
You
you're
don't really become like an inferior is just like
It's just a
dead
thing they're
body
created.
reanimated. So
Oh,
it would
reanimated.
kill you, and then I guess it would make you.
Right, because like at least Katie Bell can have a funeral and her parents can mourn and move on. But if she died, you know what I mean? But
Very least.
Just throw that in
You
there.
say it so like
Casual.
nonchalantly, Yeah.
but if then the person was also coming back and being in fury, that would be that'd be bad. But no, I'm just trying to think of what could be worse than just like death. Because what did Dumbledore say about death?
Do you guys think physical? I'm like in a mental state today. Is physical pain worse, or would like living out your worst fears or like something like that be worse? I guess it depends on the person. That's where I went.
It does depend on the person, but that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because think of all the emotional.
Well, I was wondering, is Katie
Or
Bell like,
fear,
is it
yeah.
physical or
That's a
is
great
it
point.
affecting her mentally? And then that's coming out through physical.
Because
Wow,
you
yeah,
get
you're right.
that's actually fascinating. It's like scrambling her brain. I feel like something that what you saw with Mrs. Weasley when she was trying to take over the Boggart.
Yeah, you're right.
That's kind of your worst fears coming to fruition, and just you're stuck in a loop and you can't get out. And I feel like that's more of a torture, and that becomes physical pain because like there's times when you experience some kind of emotional pain and it actually translates into physical pain.
That's true.
Wow,
That would
there's
be
so many yikes.
that would be dark.
An anxiety
You can see where I
necklace
am
that just
today.
makes you anxious.
Kristen's a dark mind. That's like yeah, for real, like an anxiety necklace that gives you like anxiety attacks all the time or something like that. Or like I'm sure some
That
of these
gives you anxiety
just
attacks. Oh my
constant.
gosh.
like I'm sure these objects could be small too, so you can like sneak them onto a person or something like that, not just like a necklace, but you can do weird, terrible things with that.
Yeah. And I think some of that might be like they're not teaching it at Hogwarts, but again, if you start experimenting beyond what the ministry would want you to know how to do, the dark stuff, the hidden stuff, then maybe that's where it gets a little more wild and crazy. But I don't know.
Last question for this chapter. We talked about this before, but who was Katie giving the necklace to? Who was controlling her? Just give me one person
The Death
and one
Eater.
theory. Which one? A Death Eater? Yeah, I mean, it could just be a nameless person in Hogsmeade. It's packed right now, so it could have just been like, you know,
Yeah, it could have been one of the like crowd or
Yeah.
work bartenders or something. Could have been Malfoy. Could have been Crabbe and Goyle. Working for Malfoy. Could have been Snape.
To wait to give her the necklace or to receive it?
Oh wait, did I mess that up?
no, this is good. Who gave it to her and then who's going to receive it? That was both my questions. So yeah, it could have been like, I mean, is there even something as in dark magic that like you can like a date rape drug? You can slip something into someone's drink. Like maybe she was drinking something and the Imperious Curse
Yikes.
washed over her or something.
And there are memory charms too. So it could be anybody
Yeah.
who just goes up, gives it to her, gives her a plan, then does a little memory charm. So she's like on a mission, doesn't even know why or who gave it to her. Or maybe you could even change somebody's memory so she thinks somebody different gave it to her. But I'm thinking Mundungus gave it to her. And even maybe just by receiving it, I don't know who she's supposed to give it to. I'm thinking Malfoy. That's like when I'm reading, that's what I'm
I
thinking.
know. Me
Giving it to
too.
Malfoy.
Yeah, to give it to him, not to kill him, but because it would be like a way that Malfoy can then use it. Again, we already know Malfoy's on a mission, right? So whatever his mission is, I'm thinking something about trying to kill Harry. He might need some tools.
Yeah.
He didn't smuggle anything in, and Goyle, I think, was the one who tried to smuggle in a shrunken head. So I don't know. We don't know, but I'm under the impression ultimately this came from Voldemort, but through a few people to end up in Malfoy's hands. Yeah, especially now that we know this was the necklace that was in Borgin and Burke's, and Malfoy seems like wanted this at the beginning,
Interested in it, yeah.
and then he still needs Dumbledore's broken ring to be fixed potentially if this theory is viable, and then he might be trying to steal that ring from Dumbledore, and maybe that's why Dumbledore grabbed the ring, because when you combine these two things, it's too powerful.
Maybe.
But what
Maybe it brings a bad side out of you too. I mean, the brother was crazy, and so was the dad. So I wonder if it together causes like evil chaos or like an evil duo,
Yeah.
and separated, it's less powerful.
What if Dumbledore's hand got black because he put the ring on that hand first and didn't realize that it was also cursed, just like the Katie Bell thing, and he was able to stop it before it like killed him or something?
Maybe.
And
It
he
was
was
on
like,
the other
"Whoa,"
hand.
and then he switched it to the other hand, but knew how to defend himself from it that time.
What?
Interesting.
Because the ring was on his left and his right was the one that got crazy.
Unless he broke it and then he put it on. Like maybe it
Oh, yeah,
was
we don't know how it broke, you're right.
solid, put it on, black hand.
He had to break it and
then
then
he
put
had to
it.
put a spell on it, which cracked it, and then he was able to wear it. That seems kind of silly, but
Yeah, I'm just confused about it because we're supposed to be, but
Chapter 13, The Secret Riddle. Unless there was anything else Danny wanted to talk about in that one.
Headmaster
Well, we'll
away
move on,
till
'cause we gotta move on.
Monday. How?
The Secret
Why?
Riddle. Danny, give us a summary for this chapter too.
Riddle. It wasn't a riddle. It was Tom Riddle.
yeah, the secret riddle. I'm so excited to find that out.
Riddle, but okay. So basically, we go back in the Pensieve with Dumbledore and Harry. They both go back to a young Dumbledore when he goes to the orphanage where Tom Riddle is growing up, and they tell Tom that he can come to Hogwarts. So Tom figures out, learns that he is a wizard. He kind of already knew, and then he agrees to come to Hogwarts. So Dumbledore at the end kind of sums up, we learned a lot about Voldemort through this. Harry take note of a few things. So this is like, we're seeing some of the first hints of evil in Tom Riddle. A lot of insight in his background.
What do you guys think of little kid Tom?
He was creepy then
Yeah,
and dangerous then.
Yeah.
it's true.
And he's only honed in on those talents, skill sets.
Yep.
He kind of gives like serial killer vibes a little bit.
Yeah.
as a
So
kid.
true.
Also is interesting because I wonder, would he have been different if both his parents were still alive?
Yeah,
Is it like
right?
a bitterness from that has grown into this hatred for people? Or was he always going to be like that? Because her brother was crazy.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and the dad was crazy too.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really, you can't really tell how normal she was because you're comparing it to two crazies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
I know.
So, not that normal if she put a curse on a
know.
muggle. So,
She's
Yeah.
at least hiding her not normalcy a little bit better than the other two, but
And
I
what
thought,
what were you gonna say?
no, it's just interesting that he wants to be different and better than everyone. And then the whole thing about the trophies, that he collects trophies from people he tortures and
That's a
stuff.
weird one.
That seems like serial killer stuff because don't they all do that? Like they save something from
That
who
is,
they
yeah, a
killed.
common
It's
thing, yeah.
so creepy. The fact that he didn't think his mom was the witch, that his dad
Yeah.
had to have been it because his
wizards
mom
can't
wouldn't have
die.
died. And I said that too. I was like,
Yep.
that doesn't make any sense. How can a witch or
Yeah,
wizard
that's right.
die giving birth? That seemed really weird to me. And that he hated the name Tom
yep.
because it was too common.
Yes.
He wants to be special.
He wants to
unique.
be, yeah.
Yep.
But I think also that's partly because he didn't have his parents and he's in an orphanage. So you want to stand out because,
And everyone kind of does. Right?
Yeah.
but you don't like, because
But
you
not
don't
to
get
this
the
degree.
attention from parents, right? Like you're striving for attention. But then the fact that he was able, like Dumbledore said, I've never seen someone have these skills so young and be able to like kind of
gosh, I
control
know.
them
Yeah.
and use them for something.
There were so many red flags in this conversation, but like so many things. Yeah.
I wonder.
Dumbledore's.
But I wonder if Dumbledore, through this experience, had then changed the way he was, because you were saying he was a little more wild and risky.
That's
Younger.
Yeah,
And I feel like
yeah.
he's like, oh shoot, why did I?
Like, I should have been more careful. What if I had like
Yeah.
been? Yeah, you're right. Maybe he got more
But even
conservative
seeing
through it.
all these things, you think he still should have? I guess he thought he could have helped him to fix these evil traits, and maybe he just needed discipline. Because I feel like you see these things, you're like, wait, I don't think it's good to train him in magic. Like, let him just be as is in the Muggle world, and just be like special there, and not actually get any training. Because I feel like there should be some kind of test to be like, okay, are you going to be evil, or are you going to be good?
Yeah.
Midi chlorine count is or something like that.
A pre-test into Hogwarts.
But I also feel like it's possible Dumbledore knew he was going to be evil to a certain degree. Maybe there was even time turners involved or something, but it's possible he would have turned into the Dark Lord of some kind, even if he never went to Hogwarts. And this was Dumbledore trying to cut that off and save him and say, come to Hogwarts, get trained. And Dumbledore was trying to like make him good, maybe.
Teach him discipline.
Yeah, because just based on what we're seeing, even in the Muggle world, I feel like he would have gone on to do some dark stuff. He was not going in a good direction. So maybe this was his only chance to maybe not become evil, but it was too late.
He also seems bipolar. Or he just knows how to really change his mannerism and the way he talks. Yeah. Because he went from this erratic person to then wanting to get his way, and he changed to this polite kid. And when you listen to it, he does a great job. It changes really good. Like, it was good.
I feel like it's master manipulation rather than being bipolar. Maybe it's bipolar. I remember reading or watching this one little short clip on this one guy who was like, I don't know if he was a serial killer, but he was like, he was some kind of murderer, like not a mass murderer, but he like murdered people and was just like a terrible person. And he had some like psychological thing wrong with him. And I remember they said you'll walk into a room and from the minute that he sees you, he will try to manipulate you. And one of his big things was he wants to know that he's smarter than you. So he will constantly like play on that. And I felt like that was for this, like Dumbledore is obviously smarter than him, and Dumbledore sees through his manipulation, but that would work on, I mean, how easy would that work on like Slughorn? Like a quick change of pace. Like he's saying all this stuff and Slughorn's like, no, like call me sir. And then he does sir. And then Slughorn just like oozes into like what he wants, you know? I don't know if it would work on a ton of people, but like he just wants to be smarter than everyone in the room, which again is like the Slytherin ambition gone wrong. And he just wants to be unique and set apart. But this is like even some of these opening lines in this chapter. Said Dumbledore, perhaps she could, but it is my belief, I'm guessing again, but I'm sure I'm right, that when her husband abandoned her, Merope stopped using magic. I do not think that she wanted to be a witch any longer. Of course, it is also possible that her unrequited love and the attendant despair sapped her of her powers. That can happen. In any case, as you are about to see, Merope refused to raise her wand even to save her own life. So there's like even things in there like apparently you can raise your wand to save your life in some way for however she was about to die. And then what about this idea, unrequited love and attendant despair sapped her of her powers? Have you seen this before?
Tonks?
Yeah, right? Is this what Tonks is going through? Like, attendant despair, unrequited love? Is she losing her ability to become a witch?
I think it's like you just don't feel like doing it, so you're not good at it. I don't think it's like you're losing your powers. Because it reminds me of like if you're depressed or something, like you just don't want to do anything. You
Everything
just
in the
want to
world is
like
gray.
sit.
Yeah.
And like that's not even being fully human.
Yeah.
That sounds like Petunia.
Ooh. You think Petunia's powers were sad?
Well, just because
Got him on
again,
that
the red pill, blue pill moment. If Petunia decided no, or maybe she
love
wanted to be a
Danny's
wizard.
Petunia. Every podcast he brings Petunia in.
Yeah, I just want her to have
Remember,
her,
I thought
her time
Merope
to
was
shine.
Petunia.
Yeah, right.
That was cool.
It lines up. She didn't really die. She just went on to find Vern and live a terrible little life of Muggle times. Whoa, that'd be creepy. What the? It's not the most crazy theory, but no, we kind of know she died because we trust Mrs. Cole.
Yeah.
But then again, we've thought that about people before, and then they're still alive. So,
You're Crouch. No, not Crouch.
Crouch's mom.
Crockpot.
Yeah. Oh, man, I don't know. This opal locket must be pretty special. Maybe not. I was
Or
just
maybe
thinking
could it have
Burke.
gotten cursed when she died?
Interesting.
Could it have been like you gave up your magic? You gave up on
Like,
the magical world, so
sold it
now
to
it's
Burke,
cursed. Wait,
And
she
then
actually
she
sold.
died.
Oh
for
yeah,
10
that's right,
galleons.
right.
But
That's
still,
right.
like if it was connected to her somehow, or
Shoot, I forgot.
no, but
yeah.
she was the end of the line. Assuming this locket is connected to the line somehow, it would be like rightfully Voldemort's locket. Maybe.
She
But
coulda-
she was wearing it.
but-
Maybe the ring
or
is
is
for
it
the
the
guy.
f-
And the, I don't know.
She betrayed the family line and it got cursed by selling
Because
it.
it wasn't in the hands of an heir of Slytherin, maybe
Yeah.
a little. Yeah, maybe. And I
That's
couldn't
so
tell.
sad that she got like nothing for it.
I know.
She didn't know its value, so
I
it
know.
didn't. It's so weird. And
She could have walked away so rich. and
Yep.
Shows you Borgenberg or.
But then I
Oh,
also
Burke's
want.
character,
But then
right?
I wonder, like, if
He's
she
annoying.
was rich, would she have then?
would it have changed anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, could she actually have lived on and been like, I'm fine because I can support
Yeah,
myself?
right. I don't even think
But
she
I
would
think
want
she
to.
wanted. Yeah, she wanted someone to love her.
Yep.
Even if it was fake.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But who doesn't want that?
So this is even another line that was kind of interesting. It says, Harry says this. She wouldn't even stay alive for her son? Dumbledore raised his eyebrows. Could you possibly be feeling sorry for Lord Voldemort? No, said Harry quickly, but she had a choice, didn't she? Not like my mother. Your mother had a choice too, said Dumbledore gently. Yes, Merope Riddle chose death in spite of a son who needed her. But do not judge her too harshly, Harry. She was greatly weakened by long suffering, and she never had your mother's courage. Now, if you will stand, and they go into the pensive. What do you think Dumbledore means that Lily had a choice? Is that as simple as like she had a choice to sacrifice her life for Harry, or is there something else behind that?
I think there's something else.
Are you just saying that because I am asking? The
No,
question?
no, but just
Yes.
because
That's
there's
what I
always a
would
certain
say.
choice. Like she could run, or she could die fighting, or she could die knowing that it's not going to actually change anything, but just
Yeah.
out of love for her son, almost like more of the act of symbolism. So there's always a choice. The question is, will the choice like make any difference? I feel like Lily's choice was to say, I'm not going to, fight. I'm not going to do whatever. I'm just going to, I don't know. I'm imagining her like hugging Harry, like her choice was to spend her final moment like looking Harry in the eye, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Even if that's a little choice. And you might say her choice should be fight, and lunge at Voldemort. And maybe that's what she did. I don't know how this like love shield works. But either way, she had a choice on how to go, I think. And I think that's the same thing here where it's bringing up like Voldemort's mom. She had a choice, but I don't know what that choice was. She chose to die and leave her son, but we just don't know enough. Was she already cursed?
Yeah.
Was there something else, or was it literally her just like losing the will to live? I don't know. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's another Star Wars comparison.
I know. Is
Weird.
it Padme? I was going to say that. It's like a little Padme reference right there.
Oh my gosh.
Come on,
right.
guys.
Can't
you don't
help
know?
it.
I know
Padme?
that. Yes, that's the mom of the twins.
Oh, nice, Jen.
I know everything about Star Wars. Star Wars?
Yep.
I don't know. I always mix them up. It's either Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. I don't know,
Yeah,
they're
it's
the same
always
to
going to
me.
be.
Yeah,
Yep.
with this crew right here.
I mean, I've
Lord of the
seen
Sto-
Star Wars just
Lord of the
once,
Stars.
Lord of the Stars. Is that what you said?
Merope Riddle chose death in spite of a son who needed her. I'm wondering what
Star rings.
needed her means. Like, was that needing her as every child needs a mother?
Yeah.
Or was it more? Was there something more about, like, if she was alive, he wouldn't have gone evil, or he at least wouldn't have been in the orphanage? But was this destined before that anyway?
I mean,
were
this-
there
yeah.
prophecies about him before?
Even that's a good even question, because this chapter talks, I feel like, a lot about the nature nurture discussion for like, is a kid born like this or is a kid made like this? What do you think about that for Tom Riddle at the moment? Do you think that he was kind of born like this, or do you think situations made him like this?
I think he was born and then it was elevated or escalated with his surroundings.
Yeah.
Because when you look at family, like the dad,
Yep.
or his grandpa, and his uncle seem crazy,
Yep.
like out of their minds.
And he could have gone either way. If his mom like
And I think,
cut them off, or cut her son off from those two, maybe he could have grown up being okay with being half blood. But if the uncle and the father or the grandfather kind of stepped in, kid had like no hope.
I'm curious why it says that Merope chose death in spite of, and I'm wondering if that's a distinction that matters, where Lily chose death because of a son who needed her. I guess I'm hoping that clarification matters, because
Wow. Okay.
does Voldemort have a love charm? You know what I mean? Does he have
but like
not
a
charm,
spiteful one, like curse.
Ooh, wow, interesting. I was just thinking like not a defensive one, but you're right. Maybe he
Whoa,
received
what
something,
if, he was like love cursed, or he can't love anyone?
and that was part of
'Cause
what
his
sent him down the
mom
evil path because of the
Died
curse
of
of
spite and
a
spite
mom
of.
dying.
Because you
Ooh,
do have that
okay.
line, which is like another interesting one, where people. Where is that one? Oh, I trust that you also noticed that Tom Riddle was already highly self-sufficient, secretive, and apparently friendless. He did not want
Friendless
help
and alone?
or companionship on his trip to Diagon Alley. He preferred to operate alone.
Yep.
The adult Voldemort is the same. You will hear many of his Death Eaters claiming they are in his confidence, that they are alone, that they are close to him. They even understand him. They are deluded. Lord Voldemort has never had a friend, nor do I believe he has ever wanted one.
So maybe the curse got on him.
There's a lot going on. I'm
I
trying
know.
to unpack, because
Also, I was a little bit
yeah.
annoyed that Dumbledore didn't push for it. Like, yeah, I know you can do it on your own, but I'm coming with you.
Yeah.
Because I think that could have changed how he felt about others. Like, I know I can be independent, but it's nice to have the companionship. So I wondered if Dumbledore is like, yeah, that's okay, but I'm still going to meet you. If that would have changed
Yeah.
his.
I feel like he wouldn't have gone. Tom.
right, like that might have
No,
been too
but like
much.
he would have just met him there. Like he didn't
I feel
have
like he
no
would've
choice.
revolted.
oh, like that would have been
Like get
yeah.
away.
Like, I feel like he would have reacted really badly.
Like run away or escape or
Yeah.
something.
I could be wrong, but
But then he shouldn't go into the school.
I know.
Yeah, I mean-
Well, part of the question is, should Dumbledore have denied entrance for this kid? Because
But also,
seem
what is
off.
the process of entering? Like, just because you have magic in your bloodline, you're allowed to get
Yeah.
schooled?
Yep.
It seems a little
Hey.
bit crazy.
We kind of also learned about Hogwarts. Dumbledore said something about the expense. He said we have like a fund
Yeah.
to help with the cost of robes and books and wands or whatever. But he didn't mention tuition. So in my mind, that confirms that tuition isn't a thing in general at Hogwarts. The expense is only to get your supplies.
But then, how did the teachers get paid and have a living? They
know.
don't. They just live on
Endowment. They have a
campus.
huge endowment.
Huge endowment.
Hogwarts, come on.
But honestly, they must, right? Huge.
Whatever.
Because, I mean, I think of it as a classic old school. What does Princeton have? 32 billion, I think it is. They're
something
one of the
ridiculous.
biggest. And all the big schools are in the
I don't know.
15,
You guys are the finance
20.
people.
30 billion. And once you have an endowment that big, you can pay all your teachers
Yeah.
for life, for
Don't worry
eternity.
about anything I know.
I'm wondering why Lily had courage, even though she also died. Something about her choice involved courage, and Merope had a choice, and she was not courageous.
Well, I like your comparison there. That was an interesting one. Like, she died rather than in spite of, she died because of her love, rather than in spite of her love. I think that's like an interesting one. I feel like when I was reading this chapter, if I was a high school English teacher, the biggest question would be compare and contrast Lily and Merope. and compare and contrast Harry and Tom Riddle. Because you even mentioned that, Jen, with they should have forced Dumbledore should have forced Tom to come along with him to Diagon Alley. Notice how he changes his tune with Harry. He doesn't go himself, but he sends Hagrid, and it's like Hagrid introduces him into the wizarding world. Harry doesn't have a choice if he wants to do it on his own. That option isn't even available. It's like you don't even know that Harry doesn't even have a choice. It's like this guy just ushers him into the wizarding world. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. That's like both of them compared is like I feel like the huge part of this chapter, but it also does mention that Dumbledore's hair is red. Do you think that he could be a Weasley?
I could hope. I really could hope. We don't know if Dumbledore
time traveling Ron
is one of the families. Whoa, man, nice extra credence to that. Is the Dumbledore family one of the 29 wizarding or 27 wizarding families, whatever it was? Well, I guess if there are only so many pure
Sacred
families,
28.
they would all have to cross over at some point, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe there's he's got some Weasley crossover. That'd be so great. Or maybe it is Ron, you know? I also, again, couldn't tell what year this was at first when we were like trying to figure it out. Just because the horse-drawn milk cart, again, back to our early discussion about the milk thing. But horse-drawn, I'm like, horse-drawn milk carts in London? Like, that must have been a while back, but maybe London was enjoying throwback milk deliveries. Because this would have to be in the 50s or 60s or...
Yeah.
No,
a little earlier.
Because he was 11, so post 1945, Dumbledore fights, whatever. Then he becomes a teacher if he wasn't headmaster, but he did call it my school. So it was hard to tell if he was just a teacher or the headmaster.
Yeah.
But either way. All right, so 50s, yeah.
And he's an odd kid, too, because this is another line. And then Mrs. Cole took another swig of gin, slopping a little over her chin this time. On the summer outing, we take them out, once a year to the countryside or to the sea. Well, Amy Benson and Dennis Bishop were never quite right afterward. And all we ever got out of them was that they'd gone into a cave with Tom Riddle. He swore they'd just gone exploring, but something happened in there, I'm sure of it. And well, there have been a lot of funny things. Again, going back to Jen's point, should there be an entrance exam or like an examination on the person to accept or deny their entry?
To accept or deny?
Because Dumbledore knows about these things.
individual.
Like, should he let Tom come into the school with this stuff going on? You almost like that they do, but
I feel like you do like a mental test, and then they go to like psych classes or like see a therapist while they're going to like.
Yeah, right.
Regular classes, because obviously something's wrong.
Where's the Hogwarts therapist? Seriously.
Do they have
Yeah, that's a weird one. And also we got...
Don't let Dumbledore hire them.
Yeah, seriously. Dumbledore was talking about in a few pages where basically no matter what Tom Riddle did, his name was like written. He was a done deal for entrance into Hogwarts. So that also felt a little funny where I was like, oh, this is not even something Dumbledore controls. That the Sorting Hat or something was already like, yep, go invite this kid. He's magical, right? Like, it felt like it was a little bit beyond just something Dumbledore could choose. I'm going to find where it... his name has been down for our school since birth. And so that's just weird because at birth, do they already know who's going to be a wizard? Or do they write all the names down, even if they might be a squib? Or are squibs not even real? And it's only a choice people make, and then they call them squibs, even though they made the choice at some point. But either way, it felt weird that his name's been down since birth. Because, again, that implies that there was a knowledge of his birth, which up until this point, we kind of assumed nobody knew. And it was like some secret hidden thing. I mean, it is the secret riddle after all. So, but his name's been down since birth. Where? Why?
Yeah.
How?
I also love, this is a little off topic, but how J.K. Rowling, she introduce squib without actually having to like fully explain it, because she brought it up in like book 1 or 2.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
that is so cool, because then they talk about it now and you like actually know what it's about. Because she just, that's her thing too,
She's
right?
a master at
Yeah,
that.
she's so good
Just
at
like
that.
a little hint, an explanation, and then it comes up 3 books later.
This chapter
Anyway.
is full of that stuff too. It's like so good. There's so many callbacks to things that you learned like in previous things. Even just like small things of putting things in your mind. I remember in the 4th book, you got a few chapters before the vanishing stare happened, where Neville got caught in the disappearing step, and then a few chapters later, Harry is on his way down and he gets stuck in it. You know, so small little things that she mentions are just brilliant. Like she is so good at putting small details in there that come up later.
Speaking of small details, no, one other little thing here that I think is interesting, where Dumbledore says, "I think you'll find it both rich in detail and satisfyingly accurate," talking about his memory, which I think is maybe a slight pat on the back. Like he's like, I have really good memory, Harry. But the fact that he said accurate feels strange, because it made me question whether, I wrote, aren't memories always accurate? Kind of implying, no, they aren't. Does that mean some of these pensieve trips might be flawed? If Dumbledore is saying this is going to be rich in detail, satisfyingly accurate, he could be talking about how accurate it is to Voldemort's current personality and being able to like identify similarities, but he could be talking about the memory itself. Again, we had mentioned that in the past, like in a pensieve or in someone's memory, if Dumbledore was pulling in Moody when he was Crouch Jr.'s memory of the trial, can that influence what it looks like? If somebody has a warped memory of an event, does the pensieve see it as pure and true only, or do you see their warped version of the memory? So this line makes me think not all of these memories will be 100% accurate. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, memory is your perception of what happened too, right?
Yep.
And it feels like there's a certain level of subconscious memory too, because Ogden, we were in his memory, he was hearing parcel tongue. We don't hear the Charlie Brown wah 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 wah.
Yeah.
We are actually, Harry is able to understand it. So the memory was so good that he remembered words he didn't even understand in the form of parcel tongue, enough that Harry could then later hear it and understand it. So like there is a subconscious level to all this. Like there is a purity to these memories.
Do you think that they're going to encounter memories that are tampered with later on?
Either,
like
inaccurate,
falsified
on purpose, or I was thinking more likely just degenerated, or like, for example, if they go to the Longbottoms and say, what happened that night with all that? Like, are they going to be able to remember that night? Would they be able to pull memories out of somebody like that where their mind isn't what it used to be?
Yeah.
And then what happens when you try and pull memories out from there? Or if somebody it's just a long time ago. Like Dumbledore is clearly very good at this. A well-organized mind, maybe. And so I don't know, but I have a feeling we're going to encounter some memories we can't trust fully.
What about like legitimacy or whatever?
Like if that would impact the memory.
Could you twist it?
Yep.
By going into there.
That is a great question.
Yeah, is it alarming that Voldemort can do this level of magic at this point in his...
All of it's alarming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you only get Harry doing a few things. He's able to do... He's like almost controlling his magic now, which is
very much.
Scary.
And it almost feels like he's a natural at things like legitimacy and occlumency, stuff that Harry can't even do now.
Yeah.
It feels like it could be the stuff in the cave. We don't know, but like almost feels like that, or memory charms or something. Like he's just very, very advanced. And the part that really threw me off too, controlling animals. At first, we thought maybe parcel tongue, maybe snakes. And he did say that later. He would, they'd come to him and he would whatever. But then I was like, but we're talking about the rabbit hanging itself. And he said animals. It feels like...
Was that a stuffed animal?
Wait, what?
It was not a stuffed animal, the rabbit.
No, I think that was a real...
That was a real rabbit.
That was somebody's pet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
thought it was
I know.
I thought it was
Dark.
a stuffed animal.
It'd be nice if it was.
And I was like, oh, that's like
This is 100%
comical.
some serial killer stuff
this
right
is...
Yeah, so then why would... Oh my gosh. This
I
seems
know.
so dumb. Let's bring him to
Yeah.
the school.
There is a point where
Oh my gosh.
it's tough because it's a kid. So it's almost scarier
Yeah.
that he's a kid and he's doing this. But
Yeah,
it's
because
also
this is like
oh,
how to
maybe we-
make a murderer.
Exactly, yeah. It could be that, or it could be like, we can rehabilitate this kid. He's gone through a lot. Let's work through things.
But they didn't do that. They just put him
know.
in classes.
I know.
You have to like take him to a mental hospital.
Yeah.
And again,
Hospital.
it shows how different Harry and Voldemort are, because I think Harry's situation growing up was worse than Tom's. Like, I would
Yeah, but
rather be in an orphanage than be with the Dursleys, to be
You're right.
honest.
You're right. Ooh, that's a great
And
point.
Harry was
But
resilient
he
to the point where
also
he was
knew he
resilient.
had family.
For sure, yeah.
Voldemort
That's
had
a great
no
point.
family. Even if they don't like you, there's blood related
Yeah.
and there's some kind of protection,
That's
like
true. There's a lot
love,
of angst with that, I guess.
versus
That's a great point.
literally no one.
Yeah, and we don't know that much about Mrs. Cole. It appears everything was good, but
I know.
everyone's wearing gray, and they're all gray sheets and gray clothes, and like, ooh,
I
it just,
didn't even pick up on that.
it does feel a little bleak at this place. So I do get that.
Yeah, but if you start seeing signs of like a crazy person, then I don't know what you would do in an orphanage kind of thing.
Right.
Ew, it's so creepy. I didn't realize this was real
Yeah.
animals.
it took me a while to realize that this was a Muggle place, a Muggle orphanage. So I was reading this as if it was a wizard orphanage.
Like you said, St. Mungo's before.
Yeah. And then it took me until like way far in where I was like, oh, that's why everything seems crazy. I love that Dumbledore still knew she liked Jenn and was
Yeah.
like set that up with the glasses.
Oh my gosh, Jim Dale reading it is hysterical. She sounds so drunk.
That's great.
He does a good drunk voice.
It
Oh,
is
that's
I remember with
awesome.
Winky
so
listening to
funny.
Winky. He's a
Oh,
great
With the
drunk
hiccuping,
Winky.
he did such a
Yep.
good job. Yeah.
I didn't realize until I was looking up Jim Dale the other day that he was the crazy guy, magician man in Pete's Dragon, a movie I used to
That's
love as a
right, yeah,
kid.
yeah.
And so he came up somehow because he's being honored for something. I don't remember.
I think he's being honored for some of his voice work that he's done.
Yeah,
He's done a
yeah,
lot.
like something kind of recent. Again, I like scroll quick when that stuff comes up, but then I was like, wait, what? And I looked at the IMDb and saw that he was in Pete's Dragon. I thought that was funny. I don't think I've seen anything else he's been in, but I have to watch it again, see how he does.
Do you think that Dumbledore has a problem with thinking that people are good? Like, all people are good? Because he should have denied, like, is this, maybe my question is this a tell for Snape? Is Dumbledore such an optimist that he thinks Tom Riddle can be rehabilitated and he's good?
I know.
And is this the
could
same
see
thing that Dumbledore thinks for Severus Snape?
Oh,
It's the same thing he seems to think about a lot of people.
Yeah.
Lockhart.
he wants to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That there's hope in them.
Which is a
Quirrell.
beautiful thing. Giving people a second chance and
It is.
seeing the benefit of the doubt, but it's also a very dangerous thing.
Yeah. He's optimistic for sure. And is there a certain optimism even in Harry? Like, is there a darker side to Harry we haven't seen yet that
Yeah.
Dumbledore is hoping to avoid to save Harry somehow too? But
We haven't really seen something similar.
no,
to
we don't see the
Tom
same kind
Riddle,
of darkness
so
as that. Yeah.
I don't think.
But I don't know. Yeah, he's optimistic. I tend to trust him, but we've seen a lot of mistakes
Yeah.
out of Dumbledore.
Yep. And these are, let me just read some other lines to you in this chapter that are like kind of chilling lines. And there's stuff that we've touched on before. He said, he believed it much quicker than I did. I mean, when you told him he was a wizard, said Harry, I didn't believe Hagrid at first when he told me. So you have that. And then even before that, I knew I was different, he whispered to his own quivering fingers. I knew I was special. Always. I knew there was something.
So creepy.
I know,
Yeah.
like the whole interaction is
But
just
the best
creepy.
is that he changed his story. He told Dumbledore when he first came, I felt like, you're not going to send me to like a special
yeah,
school
yeah.
because I'm fine, or like something, I don't know the line was. And then once he was told it was magic, he's like, yeah, I knew that. But he
Yeah.
was playing it like, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yep, like he wanted to just be smart all the
Hmm.
time.
Voldemort said it a few times, or maybe we'll call him Tom Riddle before he's Voldy. He said, tell the truth. And I'm wondering if that's like he's reading people's minds already. If this is already like he knows
my
they're
gosh.
lying and he just is saying, tell the truth because he
Yep.
can see that they're not. I don't know.
Have you guys seen the movie Dune?
I paid for it and downloaded it, and I'm gonna watch it soon. But that's one I have to watch.
Yeah.
While sitting down watching a screen, like a big
for
TV,
sure,
not on my phone.
In the
you know?
dark, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a scary movie?
No, it's kind of. There's like some scary elements, but it's like a
You're gonna
like a
watch
fantasy
it without
realm.
me?
No, maybe that's why I haven't
Yeah, I
watched
know.
it.
Exactly. It's a fantasy
It's the
realm.
first in a
It's
series though,
weird.
so that's why it's like it's
Yeah.
worth watching together, taking the time to
People
do
talk
it right.
about the books, and people say you should only read like the first 2/3 of the first book because that's where the action is. Everything else, all the other books that the guy published, are just world building. And one of my friends read it, and he said it's the single greatest bit of world building that he's ever read in his entire life. But it's boring what happens in the books. Like the guy invented like hundreds of religions. He invented like hundreds of
Wow.
languages. Like this, he built his whole world. But in in the movie, you see that they use this thing called the voice, which it's not a ton of people have it. These like prophetesses have it, and they can say something and like it's a deeper voice. It's like they find the pitch for it, and the person just immediately does what they want them to do. And you almost get that with Tom Riddle here. Like he feels like he's using like in a actually terrifying way. You feel like he's using legitimacy against Dumbledore here. Like, tell me the truth. Trying to like insert himself into his brain, saying, "Tell me the truth here," using this weird voice. But he's not getting anywhere because Dumbledore is obviously a much better wizard than him at this point.
A commanding tone.
Right?
Tell the truth. Oof.
Should hear it.
Creepy. Jim does it right.
Yeah.
That whole chapter was really good, yeah.
Another random thing to note, I'm just rather than wait till the end when you're like anything else. New Year's Eve just feels like funny timing. Just like to give us that thing of New Year's Eve, and that his mom arrived 1 hour later, gave birth, 1 hour later died.
Yeah.
Just like that timing is just really interesting. So Christmas, she sold the locket, and then New Year's Eve, she was dead a week later, and Tom was born. We don't know the date or the timing or if that even matters, but it just feels like interesting. The start of a new year. Like, I could just imagine him being born at midnight. You know what I mean?
That's
Or could Tom being born suck the life out of her? Did she die
Right,
because
yeah.
of it? Or he's just so evil?
I know.
He just
Yeah.
took it all.
Yeah.
Leaves
She
you
wasn't
all
as
sorts of
brave.
questions about like fate and determination, all that kind of stuff in this chapter. And on even another side note, this was the only big spoiler in the video game, Danny, because there's a character that comes from the House of Gaunt, and they mentioned it.
No way.
So I think that was like in there
goodness.
somewhere in the beginning of it or
Wow.
something like that. So
It could be, but to be honest, I was getting hit with so much in the game
yeah,
that
it's a little overwhelming.
I don't know if you do this, but sometimes when you read a book, not this obviously, but in the past, if the words, the towns, the names are too long, you just kind of like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You like blur them as you go, and you're like, you just remember who it is, but you don't even know how to pronounce it or anything. That's what it was with the game. It was just so many things come my way that I was like,
Yeah.
I just kind of went through it and ran through. It was great, but
Here,
I do not remember
here are a
that.
few other lines too. Did you know then, asked Harry. Did I know that I had just met the most dangerous dark wizard of all time, said Dumbledore. No. I had no idea that he was going to grow up to be what he is. However, I was certainly intrigued by him. I returned to Hogwarts, intending to keep an eye upon him. Something I should have done in any case, given that he was already alone and friendless, but which, already, I felt I ought to do for others' sake as much as his. Then he goes, firstly, this is stuff we'll talk about. This is the last stuff in the chapter we'll talk about, unless Danny has anything else. Firstly, I hope you notice Riddle's reaction when I mentioned that another shared his first name, Tom. Harry nodded. There, he showed his contempt for anything that tied him to other people, anything that made him ordinary. Even then, he wished to be different, separate, notorious, to shed his name, as you know, within a few short years of that conversation and create the mask of Lord Voldemort, behind which he has been hidden for so long. I trust that you also notice that Tom Riddle was already highly self-sufficient, secretive, and apparently friendless. This is the line I read before. He did not want help or companionship on his trip to Diagon Alley. He preferred to operate alone. The adult Voldemort is the same. You will hear many of his Death Eaters claiming that they are in his confidence and that they alone are close to him, even understand him. They are deluded. Lord Voldemort has never had a friend, nor do I believe that he has ever wanted one. This is the last line. And lastly, I hope you are not too sleepy to pay attention to this, Harry. The young Tom Riddle liked to collect trophies. You saw the box of stolen articles he had hidden in his room. These were from victims of his bullying behavior, souvenirs, if you will, of particularly unpleasant bits of magic. Bear in mind that this magpie-like tendency for this particularly will be important later. Why? Why is that important?
Like evidence maybe of things he's done,
Or maybe he's
That feels too
collecting those
shallow.
jewelry things that are powerful.
like from his ancestors, like the
But he kills them.
wait,
though, so
who
that
had
doesn't make
okay,
sense.
the sword was a sword of Gryffindor, right? Do we know what the Slytherin thing was?
I mean,
Give me that nerd look right
Yeah.
now. Well, just because it feels like the founders all had things, right? Like
So-
the sword and what else? So, like, what would Salazar have? Is it just this jewelry, or was there more?
The basilisk.
yeah, for sure. There is the thing that the Gaunts have. What's the piece of jewelry that they have that
It was
has
The
a
ring.
Slytherin crest on it?
the
And the
necklace.
opal locket. Was there a
Yeah.
Slytherin crest on something
So I
else?
think both of the ring and the locket were both Slytherin objects, right? And they had them passed down.
we're left to believe that, yeah. And Dumbledore kind of confirmed it here.
Yeah.
Like the necklace we're talking about here is the one from Burke,
Yeah.
and the whole thing. So yeah, I remember a crest being mentioned at some point, but I don't remember the specifics. But yeah, we're
Or
left
maybe
believing that
he
the
can-
locket and ring are both Slytherin things.
Yeah.
Or maybe he gets all these objects, he can make them have some kind of power. Like all the powers from each wizard or witch he killed is in an object. And then once he has a certain number or collection, he could do another powerful spell.
Right,
Or
like, what
suck
if he
the
wants
years of
collecting
life
all
out
it?
of them and he can add it to his own life.
Because what if he gets the sword of Gryffindor, and then he's got the Slytherin things, and he also needs to get the Hufflepuff shoes and the Ravenclaw.
I'm just saying, like, it could have been
Coat.
anyone. Like, it doesn't make you not.
Oh,
have
you mean
to
just
be.
like all random jewelry from, or
Yeah, like any kind of possession from
So-
someone he killed,
Yeah,
and
'cause
then
these
he
are
can
so
get like
random.
the number of years that they live. He can like suck those lives out of it.
interesting, like the
I don't know.
he
It's
can
such
like
a random.
yeah, like what could a
far-fetched.
thing? Why start collecting trophies when you're 11? He
Because
had
that's
3
what
trophies,
murderers
right?
do.
It
They
is,
like
yeah,
to
you're
like
right.
reminisce on like their previous kills by seeing their collection.
A yo-yo, a silver thimble, a tarnished mouth organ. So that's 3 objects, and he bullied 3 people: Rabbit Kid, the 2 cave people. So did he steal a thing from each of them? And they signify the person, but like also they were left to believe those 3 were muggles. So why keep a trophy from a muggle victim? And what good is it? Unless the magic,
Well, he
the
said to
life
keep
force
it
he's
in
trying
mind
to take.
for later. Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't have to do with wizard and muggle. It's just all people have it. Ancient magic.
There it is. Done deal.
We got there. I don't know. The trophy thing is strange because
But it's not if you're looking at it like a murder.
yeah, like it
just
could mean
collects
nothing
objects.
more. It might just
Like
be a
his-
literal trophy.
Even they keep like
It's calling card.
parts of them and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like so gross.
Like there's a whole wing of the little Hangleton Manor where he just has trophies lining the walls.
So like everyone, you think he has a trophy of everyone he's killed or something?
That would
Maybe.
make sense.
I know it does.
I wonder if he did what Dumbledore said and gave these things back, or if he kept them. And also at the end, Dumbledore makes the contrast of, well, that mouth organ, that's a harmonica, right?
Yeah,
Or is
I
it
think
a
so,
different? Well, like he's like, that mouth organ was just a mouth organ.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
he's contrasting to the ring that Harry saw wasn't on the table anymore. So it brings up the question, 2 questions. Where is the ring now? Is Dumbledore still wearing
Yep.
it? It sounds like it's gone. And then what is special about the ring that it is not merely a ring? We have always suspected it, but what?
Yeah, that's the question. That we just don't know.
I did think it was interesting that it was Dumbledore, I think, was the one speaking. He says he was alone and friendless, which is the wording Trelawney had in her demon prediction in book 3.
Yep.
But the fact that Dumbledore said he's never had a friend, now I'm playing with ideas of the timeline we assumed back when Trelawney gave that prediction to Harry. We assumed that was the one about like midnight, and it seemed very like tonight, but I'm just playing with the idea of, could it have been taken out of context? It was meant for a different time. Oof, wait, midnight. That's so weird. He could have been born at midnight too. I don't know. I have to play with it more, and I don't remember the specific thing, but like, that's how my brain works. So, well, just the idea of like he was alone and
your brain
friendless,
does work
but
like
then
that
Dumbledore is
sometimes.
saying he's always been alone and friendless, and kind of always will be. He doesn't even want a friend. But then he was going to have like help come to him at midnight, and we were reading it in book 3 as being during book 3. But if he's born at midnight, I'm just like, is there anything there? Did he gain
No.
any friends here? Could it have been a prediction about Dumbledore? What time did Dumbledore come
Wasn't
into
it,
this
like,
place?
the
Was it also
greatest
midnight?
Servant, the one that ran out, the coward, and
Yeah.
It mentioned all of that stuff
What's
in the
the third
prediction,
one?
didn't it? Yeah, you're right. So maybe that is still just the straight read book 3, Alone and Friendless, but it was implied that after his loyal servant came back to him, or whoever it was that returned to him, it was implied that he wouldn't be alone and friendless anymore. But maybe I was reading into it where I should.
But I also find it so interesting, like we've brought up multiple times, that Voldemort, like, why does he have friends and followers? He doesn't
Yeah.
have friends,
Why
but
does
he
he-
has
Why?
followers. But literally, it's saying like he doesn't care about anyone.
He's
So,
just
like-
manipulating them, but to what end?
But yeah, like, what are they gaining out of this? That's what I still don't get.
Yeah, me either.
I think that they're all deceived. They think they're gaining something, but they're not. Like
They're
us,
gaining
from our perspective,
friendship.
yeah, they think that they are. They think they're becoming
Right.
buddies with the most powerful wizard of all time, and they think they're gaining power in that way.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're gaining some kind of authority, but they're not, because Dumbledore, or not Dumbledore, Voldemort is just using them completely, like utterly and completely using
Yep.
all of them, and they don't know it because they think they're friends with them.
That is,
Manipulation to its
Yeah.
and
Correct.
he wants to accomplish something regardless of who he hurts along the way, even people we think are on his side. But that's the part I'm confused by, because we don't know what he wants to do, what he's trying to gain. And if he doesn't want any friends, like, it feels weird. Like, does he have some weird loyalty to his ancestors and he wants to restore Slytherins to some kind of superpower? Is it about purebloods? But if he's got no friends, what does he care about purebloods and muggleborns? And that feels a little off too. So is it as simple as he just wants power? But even that feels like, well, power for what? Power to accomplish what? We just don't know. Or is it just some kind of
I think he's looking
sick
for immortality.
game? Yeah, like something like that. He just seeks immortality, and he, like, yeah,
Because he says,
and that's enough.
Yes,
in
if you
first
don't.
book, I who have gone
Yeah.
further than anyone on the quest for immortality.
Yeah.
Something like
It just
that.
feels strange because, like, well, what does that get him? Well, I guess, what does it matter?
But he honestly,
wants to be
but he
immortal.
doesn't
Yeah.
care about any other emotions. So, like, of course, you're gonna want to live then forever, right? I don't know. Like, you just want to be the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
So, the best in the world is outliving everyone.
Yeah. There's
I
a
guess.
point to it. Like, this is almost a side note on like a psychological discussion. If Voldemort ever arrived at that point, I feel like he'd be bummed. That it
Yeah.
wouldn't meet his expectations. There's a point where like you see like even certain professional athletes, but there was a whole deep dive on Bobby Fischer for this, that he was so bored of playing chess because he was so much better than everyone else that like he would just mess around in games because he was like, there's no point to this. And then he became unbelievably paranoid because he was the best, and he was like almost self-sabotaging himself. Like when you it's the path to becoming the best is more enjoyable than becoming the best. When you've arrived, there's nothing else to strive toward, and you're like, what now?
What am I doing up
Yeah,
here?
Tom Brady had that realization once when they were like, I think he won his like third championship ring, and one of the people was like, well, what do you do now? And he just goes, I don't know. Can you like? He's like, can you tell me? He's like, he accomplished everything that he
Wow.
needed to accomplish, and like, he's like, where do I go from here? There's a point where the chase is better than. It's about the journey, not the destination, guys.
Yes.
But yeah, so like the objects are important. This ring seems to be important. You don't know where this ring is. Lots of questions, but you also get some information in this chapter, which is lovely. Is there any little tidbit, Danny, that we forgot that you want to mention?
No, I mentioned them all as we went.
Okay,
so
good.
I think that was everything.
We'll definitely be returning to this chapter too at some points because there's a lot in it.
Yeah.
But let's go over our finals. House Cup. Who gets the hot tamale, and what's your favorite moment from these chapters?
I guess the favorite moment, it's not really a moment, but that whole chapter, just learning more about Lord Voldemort's background was interesting.
Yeah.
I just like how crazy he was as a kid. It's kind of fitting for how he is now.
He was crazy.
I guess the House Cup, I think Dumbledore, because he is just revealing more memories and like wanting Harry to be filled in versus the opposite from previous books where he just kept him in the dark. The hot tamale, that's hard because I feel like there wasn't really someone that stood out to me this
Madame Rosmerta.
What, the drunk?
No, the one that Ron had to keep looking
on.
over at.
Oh my
Curvy and
God.
something.
He was like looking for
And
her, and
Hermione
Hermione has a little line.
noticed.
She's
Yeah.
like, "Who? Oh, nothing's in the back."
Yeah,
You know?
that was good.
Yeah. Oh, nothing. Oh, nothing. There wasn't that much hot tamale stuff because my focus was always on the, now when I'm looking
The
back, I'm thinking
info.
about all the cool info we got.
Yeah.
But when I think back, Harry did miss Ginny too. He was like, "Oh, I thought we were gonna hang with her in Hogsmeade, but we didn't." So I think
So Ginny's still a hot tamale.
Yeah,
she's drawing his eye, whether she's present or not in these chapters. So I think that's cool. But the Ron and Hermione thing, that's spicy. There's some action there because Hermione's jealous, and romance is in the air in these books.
Your
But who are
turn.
you gonna give your hot tamale to?
I don't know, Ginny.
Oh, okay.
I see her
She
name
was
right
only
here.
mentioned
She's a
once.
dean, I
Thanks,
guess.
Ginny.
All right.
But I don't know who else to give it to.
You know what?
A mom? Merope?
I think Ron's a little horny right now.
Wow, I
Yeah.
wasn't
So
even
Ron gets hot
expecting you
tamale
to
for
You
say
feel like
that.
Joel coming down from looking at Madame Rosmerta.
Yeah, and he's drawing Lavender Brown's eye.
You used
So,
a
her eyes, she has two
PG-13
of them.
word. I'm shocked.
And so I don't know who to give the House Cup to, though. That's a tough one. I think my favorite moments were with Dumbledore and Harry back in time, but I just can't think if there was a particular moment. Young Dumbledore is just awesome. I think when he pulled out the gin, that was legit.
Yeah, that's a good move.
He's just like, he's thinking so many steps ahead.
Young
He's so
Dumbledore.
smooth with it.
He could be a hot tamale. Too.
Yeah, he could be. he was flirting it up with what's her name? Mrs.
I was gonna
Cole.
give my hot tamale was Dumbledore. Comes in with like a plum robe
Oh,
or
my
tunic or whatever it
gosh.
is, looking all good.
Rocking it.
Tunic.
He's a hot tamale for me.
Yeah, maybe I'll give Dumbledore House Cup. He was running the show. He's being more secretive than I thought.
Yeah.
He's still being weird about his hand thing. And there was like one other part of the story that Harry asked him about, and he's like, later.
That's because he just likes to
About what the ring
control
maybe?
how
I forget.
he
Yeah, he's
learns
still-
the
he's
information. which is
Classic
annoying.
Dumbledore, still being withholding. And we kind of trust it, but
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a little more different
Yeah.
this book because he's like, oh, I'm not going to keep him
He's my House Cup and my hot tamale. I'm giving it to
Ooh,
the same person.
yeah.
I think Dumbledore just does a great job this chapter.
Boom.
Yep.
Nice.
My favorite moment? I don't know. That's a tough one. I was gonna say the plum colored suit because I think that was a good one. Someone actually wrote, just in case, he says, my favorite moment. Nice suit, sir, said Harry before he could stop himself, but Dumbledore merely chuckled. It was a cute little moment when they were like in the pensive and he like saw
Oh, that was a cute moment. Yeah. When Harry said it without
Yeah.
even thinking or something.
that.
Yeah.
I think the whole House of Gaunt, or not House of Gaunt, the whole Secret Riddle chapter was just my favorite moment. I think that's such a good
Yeah,
chapter.
such a good
so
one.
much good stuff that's happening there.
Sorry, 'cause I'm literally half asleep.
Yeah.
I agree with all of you.
Yay!
We got that.
Oh, also
I'm trying
great
to-
socks, Ravenclaw
Ooh, I
socks, repping
Oh.
strong right now.
Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. Until next time.
Woo! How many chapters should I read next time?
3. Try to
I
do
promise
3.
I'll actually read them.
I know. Try to do 3.
3, 13,
We're all gonna
14.
come in plum-covered suits next.
Oh, yes.
Next podcast. All right, guys.
Picture from the next chapter. And the chapter title. Someone's drinking something, and it's Felix Felicis.
Felix Felicis is the next chapter. It's a good one. Maybe he takes Felix Felicis.